because we're talking about largely about a group of women. So they shouldn't suffer a disadvantage. That's what the covenant says. This is how we do it, by applying the covenant. So we're delivering at last on the covenant. And that's what we've got to do, because it's not just words.
A man has a serious eye injury after a firework exploded in his face in Willenhall. It happened at Willenhall Rugby Club in Essington last night. The man, who's in his 50s, was treated at the scene by ambulance staff and then taken to hospital. A 10-year-old boy who went missing in Birmingham has returned home. Shane Kelly was walking to school with his mother and sister in Tyseley yesterday when he ran off. Police carried out an extensive search throughout the day using dogs and the Force helicopter. Officers say he went home around 9 last night and appeared well. Christmas officially starts in Birmingham today with the city parade and light switch on. A traditional nativity scene float with rides through the city this afternoon, along with a visit from Father Christmas. Charles Dickens' classic Christmas carol also features this year, complete with ghosts of Christmas past, present and future. Councillor Penny Holbrook is a cabinet member for the City Council.
Hopefully the weather will hold and we'll get a really big turnout. We normally get several thousand families come along to take part, and it's a really good opportunity to come to something free provided by the City Council and our partners that will start a family festive season.
And the weather, a wet and windy day today. The rain should gradually clear later in the afternoon. Temperatures not very warm, 12 Celsius, 54 Fahrenheit. A largely dry and clear night to come, with overnight lows of 11 Celsius, 52 Fahrenheit. BBC WM 95.6 News. There's more online at bbc.co.uk/WM.
How you doing? She's gone. Oh, she's back again.
I haven't.
You went all quiet on me there. You went all quiet. What do you mean? I don't look like a big grizzly bear. Do I look like a... Have you seen that advert with the sofa bear?
Yes.
So-and-so is a sofa bear and he can hibernate all weekend watching the TV.
You know, I can see you on the camera, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, you didn't
so
see...
do you want me to put my shirt back on? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay.
When Molly said that,
Yeah.
you said, I don't. You didn't see me, but I was nodding.
You're a rotten stinker. Maybe I do look like a sofa bear.
Shane O'Connor
on BBC WM
95.6.
The voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
I'm going to keep an eye on Nicole through the rest of the show now and find out what... Hey, two what? See what else she's going to do at me between now and 12. Shane O'Connor sitting in for Iain Lee. Hope you can join me this morning. Some of the things that we're talking about, got a great show lined up for you. I know I'm biased, but just looking at some of the stuff, I'm thinking there's some great stuff we can get our teeth into. And if yesterday or last week was any judge, then we should have a great conversation between now and midday. The number is always 03453 009956. Let me tell you about some of the things we're going to talk about on the show today. I have been driven mad with rage, shouting at my radio and at my TV about this story about super councils. Now, I don't know if you've been affected in the same way. I tried shouting at the newspaper, but it seemed oddly even more ridiculous, so I stopped doing that one. But I don't know if you've seen the details of this story where they're talking about all of the councils, and this is you, if you live in Walsall or Wolverhampton, or Dudley, or possibly Solihull, or maybe even Coventry as well. All of the councils getting together and having some kind of coalition of councils, some kind of super council. This comes off the back of, quite recently, we heard Birmingham City Council saying that to people like Dudley and Walsall and Wolverhampton and West Brom, look, get over it, get used to it, we're the dominant partner. And we're in charge. So you do kind of think, hang on a second, what kind of hope does it have for a super council? Isn't it just a way of Birmingham City Council getting everybody to toe the line? That could be a great thing, couldn't it? And businesses are saying this is brilliant. Although I don't understand what businesses are saying this morning, because they're saying, look, it doesn't matter for us about geography and about borders. Well, get on with it then. Why do you need a super council? A combined West Midlands super council could be formed by 5 local authorities in the region. The proposed alliance between Birmingham City Council, Walsall, Sandwell, Wolverhampton and Dudley would serve as a combined population of 3.4 million people. But what would it mean to people? I've heard from politicians, national politicians, I've heard from MPs, I've heard from business leaders, I've heard from business people both nationally and locally as well. What I haven't heard from, and I've heard from councillors, by the way, who think it's a great idea, but does that mean that they think they're going to get more power, more responsibility, more of our money to spend in an unaccountable way? If you're a councillor listening to this show this morning, you want to be part of it, you're welcome. 03453 009956. I'm a super council sceptic this morning. And if you're just, I'll tell you what I want to hear from. It's just real, ordinary, normal, run-of-the-mill people like you and me, the people who are going to be affected by this, who are maybe not particularly enamoured with what happens now in terms of the council, and are thinking, well, my council that I pay my council tax to, I'm not quite sure where it all goes. Would I want a bigger version of that? And are we not just swapping what we've got at Westminster for having something bigger locally? So we'll throw that one around. Give us a call on your thoughts on that one, 03453 009956. If you've got any questions on that, by the way, we'll see. We're going to talk to an expert a bit later on. We'll see if we can get those answered as well. WM, you need to start your message on the text 81333. There's a Christmas parade. I don't know if you've seen this. Now, given that, what is it, Saturday, and it's the 8th of November, and we still haven't had all of the bonfire parties yet. We've still got more to come with the old bonfire parties. So why are we having a Christmas parade? There's a Christmas parade in Birmingham today. They're going to have one. Is it too soon? What's the point at which you start having Christmas? Birmingham City Council have organised a big Christmas parade, because I suppose it ties in again with business and the market and all the rest of it. The annual event gets underway at 5:30 this afternoon. It starts in Carmore Row, and it culminates in the lights being switched on. So here we are, 8th of November, switching on Christmas lights. Are you having me over or what? We haven't finished. The bonfires haven't gone out yet. We haven't lit some of them. They're still going to be lit over the weekend. Is it too soon to start Christmas? We've all crept in there. The TV ads are on the TV. As you go through the newspapers this morning, they're all in there as well. So at what point do we start Christmas? Do you have a very definite and definitive date that you say, right, that's it, that's for me, that's the date I start Christmas? I know my mum was really strict about Christmas tree, because we don't do it at home, do we? We don't put our Christmas lights up. Or maybe we do put our Christmas tree up and Christmas lights up. Is that what you're going to be doing this weekend? 03453 009956. When is the point at which you say, yep, OK, it's official now, we've got everything out of the way, and, some people are not even waiting until Halloween's over yet. But previously, last few days, they'd already started. But if that's you, let me know on the show this morning. 81333, start your message, WM, or 03453 009956. We'll talk more about whether it's right to have a Christmas parade on the 8th of November. And landmarks. What are the landmarks across the West Midlands? You know, you go around the world and you go around Europe and you go to other countries. Maybe you go around the UK and you see the Angel of the North. And you see Marble Arch, maybe, and you think, wow, they're great. Have we got the same? Are we doing okay? I'm just trying to think, because I don't know if you've seen these sky needles that have been turned on above the NIA, which are basically, I don't know whether I like them or not. It takes me a little while with this kind of thing to think, oh, actually, yeah, I do kind of warm to them. Or no, I don't. I don't think they're a great idea. But sky needles are sitting on top of the NIA arena. They've been officially lit up, so they are officially there. 3 rods, which you can see a photo of on our Facebook page, actually, BBC WM. If you just go to Facebook and put in BBC WM, you should find us there. And I've actually tweeted it as well. Shane on Air is my Twitter feed, if you want to just have a look at that. I just tweeted the sky needles. They were switched on for the first time last night. And I'd like your views on them. First of all, 2 things with that, really, is what do you think? Any good or not? Do you like them? Do you like the idea of the sky needles? Do you think they're a brilliant idea? Or do you think it's all a bit of a waste of money? Are you not into the old public art? And secondly, we're going to rack our brains and find out what we think are the landmarks across the West Midlands. I love your thoughts on that one as well. 81333 on the text, 03453 009956. I thought a couple straight away. There's the Bull in Birmingham, obviously, but we nicked that from New York, didn't we? I mean, if you go online and have a look at the Birmingham Bull, and then have a look at the New York Bull, which is near the Stock Exchange in New York, it looks like it's made by the same artist. But we got it from the same bull factory by the look of it. So didn't we nick that one? But then maybe the bull ring itself is a bit of a landmark as well. But I'm talking about something iconic. You know, you drive past it like the Angel of the North and you go, whoa, what's that? What are they doing there? What was that? Is it amazing or is it awful? Either way, it galvanises people to talk about it and to notice the area. So what are the landmarks? The other one I thought was the hippo in Walsall, which people talk about. I'll meet you by the hippo, and it is tiny. I remember it as that shrunk. Have you swapped that out? Because I remember growing up in Walsall, And I remember sitting on the Hippo, and the Hippo used to be massive. What happened to the Hippo in Walsall? Have you washed it or something?
Have your say.
Across the West Midlands, call
03453
00
9956.
BBC WM.
95.6.
Shane O'Connor sitting in for Iain Lee between now and 12. So give us a call. Let us know some of the topics we're talking about, the landmarks across the West Midlands. Is it too early to have a Christmas parade today on the 8th of November? And whatever your thoughts, and I don't want to try and kind of lead you in one particular direction with this one. Super councils. You've probably read about it. You've probably heard about it. It's just basically councils getting together and forming one big council. What do you think of that? Do you like that as an idea or not? 03453 009956. A bit later on the show, we'll be asking you what you think about eating reindeer as well, because they are. It's Lidl again. We were talking about Lidl on the show yesterday afternoon. Lidl again are causing controversy by having what they're calling reindeer steaks. They are real reindeer. They're going to be selling those in their stores coming up to Christmas. What do you say to, if you're in a supermarket and you see reindeer steaks, what do you say to your kids about having that conversation about whether that's Rudolph or not? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I'd like to know your thoughts on that one as well. 03453 009956. Millions of pounds of investment and new jobs and improved transport links are just some of the things that are being promised off the back of a super council made up of all 4 Black Country authorities and Birmingham City Council. It could benefit for the region for the future. The combined authority would serve a population of 3.4 million people. Aninda Johal, president of the Black Country Chamber of Commerce, told Molly Green how it would benefit the region.
We're now seeing that the London economy has been booming for years. The UK government wants to rebalance, and we in the Midlands want to see some of that growth. And therefore, to engender that growth, we as businesses need to see funds coming into skills development, more importantly, local infrastructure. So for us, any structure, whether it's a combined authority, that assists in bringing more funds into Birmingham, Black Country, and the local surrounding area, that will help us grow the economy, has got to be applauded.
But they would say that, wouldn't they? And what evidence is there that it would bring extra money in? And if it did, what accountability would there be about spending that money? We'll explore all those issues in a second. Talking to Frank C. last night on BBC WM, Mark Rogers, the Chief Exec at Birmingham City Council, said a combined authority would strengthen the West Midlands economy, with businesses less concerned with county borders and more interested in seeing growth in the region.
Business does not observe borders. Business wants us to organise ourselves in a way that helps it develop and grow and bring investment in and make the West Midlands the most vibrant economy outside of London.
An invite to join Super Council negotiations has been extended to both Solihull and Coventry authorities, and Coventry's leader Anne Lucas told BBC Coventry and Warwickshire's Clive Eakin that she would welcome discussions.
The North have already looked at it, miles ahead of us, is that they will join together to be a big force that can't be ignored. And the Midlands, and I take with that the wider Midlands as well, needs to have those discussions, and we're very happy to be part of those discussions.
So they all want to be at the table, they all want to talk, but will it ever come off? And if it does, will it be a good thing? I want to hear from you this morning, because we've heard from everybody, apart from real people that this affects. 03453 009956. Are you that disconnected that you don't really care? One way or the other, you pay your council tax and you think, well, it's up to them, I don't care, they set it and that's it, I pay it. But be warned and be aware that if you had a super council, they would probably have the power, uncapped, to set their council tax at whatever they see fit. So it is going to affect you. If you think you're sitting there thinking, well, it's not going to bother me really, is it? This is nothing really to do with me. They're politicians, they can all get on with it. I think nothing could be further from the truth. It could affect you at home. It certainly will affect you at work. 81333 on the text. Start your message WM. Are you for or against? 03453 009956. My number. 9:15. Let's catch up with the latest travel news. Matthew Sparks has the details. Hi, Matthew.
Morning. Northbound on the Ulster Road, the 435, fully reopened now for Withell traffic after the earlier troubles. Looks like there's still problems on the A461, the Walsall Road, around the Hammerwich direction. Looks like Staffordshire Police are dealing with an accident just at the Muckley Corner Island, if you know it. Still, of course, works continue in the city centre around Aston for Aston Bridge. It's a closure, so that'll cause problems coming off from Dartmouth Circus, naturally. And still some cones also for traffic to the west of us, around Hagley. The A456, the dual carriageway, the Kidderminster Road, has restrictions just by the 491 Stourbridge Road. If you can update us, call BBC WM 95.6 Travel 08453 002288.
Would you eat a reindeer, Matthew? Would you a reindeer steak?
Yeah, I'm a true carnivore. I would eat it, no problem.
You know, nothing, because I got this theory that if rabbit stew was called fluffy bunny stew, few of us would eat it. You don't have you wouldn't have Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer going on in the back of your mind while you're eating it, no?
I probably wouldn't eat two of them because then it'd be too dear.
Today, it's Derby versus Wolves from midday.
Flexion takes it to Henry. Oh, yes. 1-1 James Henry.
Followed by West Ham versus Villa from 3.
Cross coming in. It's poked onwards. Andy Byman.
This Sunday from 1:30, hear live FM commentary of West Brom versus Newcastle from the Hawthorns.
The Albion travelling fans are boinging away on the far side.
The station for commentary this season.
BBC WM
95.6.
Do you know, I wouldn't mind, but he just did that on the hoof. Thanks, Johnny. I was just asking the question. I think that's what he was answering. If it was 2 o'clock, I'd be really worried. 3 o'clock this afternoon is Villa away at West Ham, live commentary. That's our second featured commentary game talking about football. From 12 o'clock today, the sports team take over. 12:15, it's Derby Wolves. The Wolverhampton Wanderers away to Derby. From 12:15, quick kick-off today, full commentary on that one as well. Talking about super councils, we're going to have a chat with some real people on all of this on the show a little bit later on. No disrespect to my next guest. Dr. Matt Cole is Head of Politics at King Edward VI College in Stourbridge and joins us on the show this morning. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Shane.
Thanks for being with us this morning. This idea of a super council, I mean, obviously there's a lot of variables in here and we don't know what it's going to mean. They're almost like at the stage before preliminary talks, so it's all a bit vague and a bit kind of wishy-washy. But in general terms, do you buy this idea that it'll bring jobs, it'll bring money to the area?
Well, that's all it is at the moment, is an idea. There's a great more about this super council that we don't know than that we do know, because it's something that's been suggested by politicians currently on councils and by the Chancellor of the Exchequer for Manchester and the proposals he's put to them. But all we have to go on in terms of structure and powers for this sort of council would be what's happened in London, what's happened in Manchester, or what's being proposed in Manchester, and what we had in the past, because, of course, we used to have a West Midlands County Council based in Lancaster Circus in Birmingham that lasted from the 70s to the 80s, and that took charge of things like policing, the other emergency services, transport, planning. You have the Greater London Authority, which has control over a good deal more than that.
Yeah.
And you have this proposal for Manchester, which would involve, for example, having an elected mayor for the whole of this Greater Manchester Combined Authority. So what we don't know is, first of all, what the powers would be, and secondly, who would be running it, or would they be elected people? Because at the moment we're being promised by Darren Cooper, the head of Sandwell Council, that there will be no extra costs and no extra politicians. Well, if there are no extra costs, what's going to be the benefit? The hope is that it will bring in investment in the way that, for example, most obviously, London did with the Olympics, bringing in major projects, bringing in business investment that would provide jobs in the region. In Manchester, for example, the Combined Authority, which is set up as a sort of shadow authority, has developed Salford and developed the tram links in Manchester. That's the sort of thing that you might get across the West Midlands. You might get business investment, you might get improved public services, but we don't know how it's going to be set up. And my fear is that if you impose a new authority, it tends not to last. It tends not to take root.
Yeah.
If you try and impose a mayor, for example, we rejected a mayor in Birmingham not very long ago. If you try to introduce new electoral systems, we rejected the idea of a new electoral system in Birmingham not very long ago. If you try to introduce things like the police commissioner, for example, and put them on people's doorstep when they didn't ask for them, you don't get a very big turnout in the elections. And my fear is that if you invent something just before an election in order to try to demonstrate your concern for the regions, and then you impose it after the election in order to fulfil your promise, but nobody actually asked for it and nobody was consulted about it, it's not going to work.
Haven't you said the magic word to galvanise the West Midlands, though? Manchester. Because particularly Birmingham City Council, if Manchester regularly pokes Birmingham City Council with a stick by saying we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and they get all jumpy, don't they, Matt? And there's if Manchester, we don't want to lose out, because they don't want to lose the second city crown to Manchester, which Manchester has openly said that they want to take. So even worse, aren't we just doing this because Manchester are doing something and we've got to do something in response?
That's right. There's a fear that there's a sort of copycat process of devolution going on here. London had a mayor, some other cities had to have mayors. Scotland and Wales have had devolution, so power has to be given to other parts of the United Kingdom. Now, there is a problem of what's called asymmetrical devolution, where some parts of the country have more control over their own affairs than others. But if you simply copy what you do in one part of the country in every other part, it may not necessarily work. I'll come back to my point that unless you put all these things to referendums, consult with the public, unless you engage them in discussion and a process of public education in the broader sense and consultation, then the institutions aren't going to enjoy the kind of support that the mayoralty does in London, for example, and that the Parliament does in Scotland, because the campaigns for those built up over years. They weren't invented by the Chancellor of the Exchequer and cooked up in a deal, as I've heard some local members of Parliament saying they want to do with George Osborne overnight. That isn't going to work.
Isn't it a bit like, to use an analogy, isn't it a bit like buying a stereo? Because you've got noisy neighbours a couple of doors down, when you're not actually solving the problem, of them being noisy. And by that I mean, isn't it down to the government to say to London, hang on a second, we can't cram anything else into London and the South East anymore. We now have to say to new businesses, we will give you tax breaks or incentives or whatever it is they need to do to either relocate to the West Midlands or to Manchester or to Leeds or Bradford or wherever they want to go. That's what government is supposed to do, isn't it? Never mind setting up new councils.
This is partly compensating for the overinvestment and the growth in London and the obsession with, frankly, of the political community at Westminster. Their assumption in policy making in all sorts of areas that whatever works for London will work elsewhere, and whatever's an issue in London will work elsewhere. And maybe you shouldn't, in an ideal world, need to do that. But I don't think we should overlook the possibility, indeed the probability, that if you had an effective working, coordinated authority for the whole of the West Midlands, it would be able to coordinate transport and public services. It would be able to bring in investment that we currently can't do. But to go back to your analogy, this isn't even really what's being proposed here. Isn't like buying a new stereo. It's like taking the various appliances you've got and stapling them all together and trying to make them work. Because what we're having proposed here is simply council leaders and members of councils getting together. Now, there's no harm in that, but they can't raise any taxes, so you don't need to worry about that. But that means they haven't got any money and they can't demand any more money. I think what's going through the mind of some councillors, possibly, is the way in which they've lost funds over the last few years, the austerity programme. And, they've lost dozens of millions, in some cases like Birmingham, hundreds of millions of pounds. And they're thinking, if we can get a bigger voice, a more coordinated voice that protects us against that in future, that will be a valuable outcome.
Do you see, you're seeing them from what they're saying, and as we both said, it's like kind of, it's a bit airy-fairy at the moment, but are you seeing this would be another layer, Matt, rather than, this wouldn't replace councils, this would be another layer of bureaucracy, wouldn't it, which surely most people think would slow things up, not speed things up?
Well, it all depends on how many new people and how many new powers there are. If it simply means the current politicians, the current layers of council authority working together, then that shouldn't add any bureaucracy or any red tape to any of the processes that go on now. If you actually create a new council, which is what the West Midlands County Council was elected every 4 years. If you actually create a whole new set of politicians, and you have to pay those politicians, and they have to be consulted, and they have a mandate, and they have specific powers of their own, then things might get slower, yes. Now, I have to say that's not necessarily a bad thing, because consultation and democracy take time, and they take money. But the problem is, at the moment, there isn't much money around, and the other thing you need in order to give authority to people is the trust of the public, and there certainly isn't much of that around in politicians.
No, we were talking, and it doesn't get any better when you're talking with unelected people as well. We were talking last week, and we've talked at length about local enterprise partnerships as well, and about their unaccountability. Do you have a worry that this is a way of siphoning public money into black holes like LEPs, which are not elected, they're not accountable, they meet behind closed doors, they don't minute their meetings. We haven't got a clue where the money's going. Isn't this just going to make that problem worse, Matt?
Well, these will be elected politicians working together, but they won't have been elected to this authority. They'll simply be meeting on behalf of their own authorities. That's the way it's being described at the moment.
Right.
If you go beyond that, if you have some other kind of permanent authority with unelected people on it, with officials, with appointees who decide where money goes, as you say, these have quite often, quangos have quite often been the subject of a lot of suspicion about the patronage they enjoy. So you have the alternative of that, which doesn't create too much bureaucracy, or a whole new authority which requires public trust, public engagement, and requires and will demand more powers and more money. And we don't seem to be in the situation where the public is ready for that at the moment. The main driving force for all of these proposals is the interests of each of the parties involved. And many of those are legitimate interests. The interests of the councils in defending their budgets and in trying to promote the business and the public services of their areas.
Yeah,
the interest of the Chancellor in trying to demonstrate that he's concerned about the provincial interests of other parts of the United Kingdom outside the South East.
Unfortunately, they are generally, as is the way of politics, self-interest rather than the interest of the wider public at large, aren't they? That's the worry. From a business perspective, though, we heard a clip just before the Traveller, Mark Rogers, Chief Exec of Birmingham City Council, saying it would be easier for businesses because they wouldn't have to be worried about county borders. I'm trying to think, and I'll throw it out, if there's any business people listening this morning who stay up at night worrying about the county borders, I've never heard such a load of old tosh in all my life. Have you come across businesses that worry about county borders?
Well, usually businesses do prefer to be able to operate on a larger canvas, if you like. Certainly particular kinds of business that work in different parts of the West Midlands may find it an inconvenience to work with lots of different authorities, have different arrangements with them, they have different levels of support from them. That could be an inhibition to the success of a business.
So, but we're talking big businesses there, though, are we, Matt? We're talking,
yeah, that's right.
The Jaguar Land Rovers of the world.
You're talking about a particular kind of business. There'll be many, many small businesses that operate within council authorities and that work perfectly successfully under them, and that might find there was an extra layer of bureaucracy to deal with if you were to invent a new authority. That would all be down to how the process was introduced. But as I keep saying, the way of avoiding that being a problem is to take time over this, to engage with the public, to win their trust, their support, and their willingness to participate in it.
Matt, always a pleasure. Thank you. Good to talk to you this morning. Dr. Matt Cole, Head of Politics at King Edward VI College in Stourbridge. Quite interesting there, talking about the big employers, the Jaguar Land Rovers. And this was a question I asked quite recently. If Jaguar Land Rover are that worried about borders, why did they build their new engine plant in Wolverhampton when they could have built it in the county that they're at? Well, in sort of Coventry and Warwickshire they're based, aren't they? Based in Warwickshire, their headquarters. Why didn't they build it there? Because they had the opportunity to build it there, but they're obviously not concerned about cross borders and going into different counties and all the rest. Do you buy any of that? I mean, if you're into this, then give me a call, let me know. And equally, if you're a little bit sceptical, 03453 009956, what do you think it's going to mean to you as an individual, as a council taxpayer? Let's talk to Ken, who's in Small Heath. Hiya, Ken.
Hello, morning, Shine.
Morning, mate. Good to talk to you. What are your thoughts on this one, super councils? Where do you stand on this?
You know, these things, they start off as one thing and they end up as another.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What they're actually saying.
I do. You're thinking, hang on, this isn't what we signed up for. How did this happen?
That's it, you know, then other things start coming into it.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, like the ratepayers, which, you know, I'm not one of them.
What do you mean?
They're going to foot the bill. And, you know, like it was mentioned about Birmingham County Council down by the old fire station, the big old Halfords building.
Yeah.
Now, that was just, right, a building where they was, you know, like doing Birmingham's affairs, and that building was being paid for. Do you know what I mean? What the council actually do, which, you know, in a way is obvious, the buildings that they own, they pay rates on it, right?
Yeah.
They pay rates on their own buildings, like, what is it, the rates department. Now somebody else owns that building,
yeah,
and they pay money to loan that building out, if you get what I mean.
So what you're saying is, when we say it will have no extra... This was what I was going to talk to Matt about. When you say it's got no extra cost, even if they have a meeting, somebody buys the sausage rolls...
You've got it. That's it, conferences...
And those sausage rolls are being paid for by you and me, Ken.
That's right. It's going to be... say, for instance, Shane, right, it's just Birmingham City Council discussing the businesses and they're having, the food and everything. Then you start bringing other areas into that big conference. It's going to take longer with all the people discussing about the businesses and whatever, which the businesses, really, they've got nothing to do with Birmingham. Birmingham have got their own business. They don't need to bring everybody else in. That's what I think.
Last week, we were talking about the wider issue of politics and whether there were too many layers of politics. I can't believe 7 days later, we're talking about sticking another layer of, whether it's new politicians or whether it's old, but another chamber of politicians... to get in the way. I can't believe, I can't get my breath with this, to be honest with you. This, do you remember that council that you were talking about? What was it called?
Birmingham County Council.
I remember the building. I remember the building. I don't remember the impact that it had on politics. Was it, I mean, it was disbanded, presumably, because he wasn't working, was it?
I think it was costing too much money.
Right, so...
Let me say this to you, Shane, before I go.
Go on.
Birmingham should have kept their own council. They shouldn't have brought other councils in, like the Greater Birmingham, like London, you've got Greater London and whatever.
Yeah.
Birmingham should have stayed on its own.
Well, London got rid of theirs, the GLC, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. What was it?
Ken Livingstone. Yeah, remember the building?
Yeah.
The building's still there. That's a hotel, I think, now, the GLC building.
He was a law unto himself, Ken Livingstone.
Yeah.
What he said... It went.
Yeah, that's why the GLC was scrapped, because it was a barrier to new development and new business.
Yeah, it was.
Not an Ken, brilliant call.
Let me say this before I go.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to be as quick as I can.
Go on.
When I was about 12 years old.
Yeah.
The council house downtown.
Yeah.
When I used to come past there with my mates.
Yeah.
There was about 2 or 3 big black Daimlers waiting to take the councillors here and there.
Yeah.
I don't think you see them anymore, only maybe for the Lord Mayor or something. They was living a life of luxury.
Yeah.
And the poor people, right, it didn't matter about them.
Yeah. And even as a kid, that had an impression on you. That's what I think.
Those big, shiny black Daimlers.
Yeah.
Giant on the lever.
Good to talk to you, mate.
And you.
Don't go too far. Ken in Small Heath. Keith in Bartley Green. Hi, Keith.
Hi, we've actually got Jaguars now, which are equivalent to the Daimlers.
What for their official cars? They've still got the official cars.
Oh yeah. I mean, there was one Lord Mayor once who said he'd ride around the Mini, but they do use the official car, obviously, which is to represent the city.
Yeah.
I think we did have 2. I don't know if they've still got the 2, but probably have. But they are they don't change them every year, like it.
No. And plus, I mean, the other thing is, if you've got a Lord Mayor, that kind of office, you don't want them turning up on the bus either, do you? Really, I suppose that's they're meeting businessmen from China, and he turns up on his skateboard. Do you know what I mean? It's not the best.
Me and EC like on a.
It turns up on the bus. Keith, what do you think super councils?
I think if they're handled right, they'd be all right. You see, we have got as I said, the West Midlands Council before. But you've got Centro, which are a conglomeration of all the councils, which put together for funding the subsidised transport.
Yeah, Quango they call them, don't they?
Yeah, Quango, that's right. Yeah, so it means if it's handled, I wouldn't trust Birmingham City Council to run the whole lot, to be honest with you.
Well, they're in the driving seat, aren't they? I mean, was it 2 weeks ago they said to the other councils, you better get used to it, we're in charge, we're the big boy in town, and to Walsall, seriously, to Walsall, I forget who it was, one of the councillors said, you're just going to have to get used to it. We're the main player, and that's it. That's their view.
Sounds like to all the poor, that does. Quite honestly,
I'm not sure who it was, but I just thought, wow,
it's not right. It's the point is you're going to have an equal situation, and all this has come down because of what happened in Scotland, basically, and
I think we've moved on from that. I think locally, I tell you what rings the bell, particularly people in Birmingham City Council. I tell you what rings their bell is Manchester. Manchester drives them up the wall. Keith, it drives them mad.
Well, the thing is, what was a niggle to us, I think, to be fair, when the BBC moved everything down, come down to Salford.
Yeah.
Right, it's great down here, you know.
Well, 20 minutes later, they regretted it, didn't they?
I think they believe it now at all. I think they have regretted it. But I know someone who lives in Salford. It's not so good as they're making it out. I ain't knocking the Manx.
No, but should we be designing policy based on what our neighbours are? If they decide that Manchester is going to be the second city, so what? What difference does that? What difference does it make?
As long as we get the funding for what we want to do.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter.
Not the politics of envy. You want the politics of aspiration, don't you? You don't want to go, what's he got? Why haven't we got that?
It doesn't matter what party you support, because at the end of the day, whatever happens in local politics is going to affect everyone.
Right.
And whether you go and vote or not.
So
it's just going to affect you.
But you think it could be good? You don't worry about the cost at all? Do you worry about the cost? Even as we were just saying to Ken, even if they just go for a meeting, they're still gonna rack up a bill for cups of tea and sausage rolls and pork pies, aren't they?
Depends on the funding we're going to get. This is the thing.
Right.
We don't know the full picture yet. And as far as it goes, I think we're still having the Christmas fair in market in Birmingham.
We've got a Christmas parade today. They're switching on the lights.
Yeah, but I think they put the Christmas parade on for Sir Albert to see Father Christmas.
Keith, good to talk to you, mate. Keith in Bartley Green, June's in Sedgley. Hi, June.
Hello there.
What are your thoughts?
I'm worried about this Birmingham wanting to take over all the Midlands and everywhere else.
Today the Midlands, tomorrow the world. It's good to have aspirations, though, isn't it?
But I can't believe mind you, I don't know what they want. It's for money. Yeah. They've lost all their money. They want all ours. But what I can't understand, they were trying to make everything so big in this country, hospitals and everything else, and it never works. They haven't got enough staff. There's not enough rooms. You walk miles and miles in the hospital, you can't find where you are.
Yeah.
So Birmingham's going to mess everything up, and I better not swear. Mess everything up like they do everything else in this country. The politicians are money mad, and all they want is power.
Do you know, you just made a really good point, and I thought I hadn't even thought of that, but you're right. If you're living in Walsall or West Brom or Dudley or Wolverhampton or even Solihull or Coventry or Sedgley, where you are, June, right?
Sedgley, yeah.
And you're sitting there and you're thinking, would you even want Birmingham City Council at the table? They've just they're having to sell the NEC. They're jewelling their crown because they cocked it up with their wages. Is this who we want looking after business across the West Midlands?
But I don't believe in. But they did us. Dudley did all our area, pulled us all together, and they've never been able to work it out properly. We never get the services we used to get when we were Sedgley on our own.
Yeah.
That was a lovely council.
Do you have? There is an argument though that says that transport is a good example. That if you just had a local council, say you went ultra local and you had your Sedgley council, they wouldn't be able to have much of a say in whether you could get buses to Wolverhampton or Walsall or whatever, because they're not looking at the wider picture. But some would argue, well, we've already got Centro that does that. Do you think there's any case to answer at all for a super council, June, or not?
For superpower?
For anything. I mean, just is there any part of the roads or the transport or the schools? Do you think the super council could do any good in any of those?
None of it. No.
Do you worry it'll cost you more money?
It's going to cost us more money, of course it is. if we're thriving a bit in Sedgley and Dudley, they want they dip in the pie, don't they? That's all it is.
So how do we decide? I mean, and it's quite interesting because Dr. Matt Cole, who's head of politics at King Edward VI College, was saying, if you force it on people, it'll fail. If you get people to adopt it, maybe even vote for it, then it might work. But if you had the vote, you would vote no, would you, for a super council?
Definitely not. We want to stay as we are. I know Dudley's not too good, but the other areas, but they're better than the Birmingham would be anyway.
June, great call, and thanks for making me think this morning. Appreciate that. Have a good day.
Bye-bye, darling.
Take care, darling. June in Sedgley. I'd even forgot about that. So you want to put Birmingham City Council in charge, do you? The council that have now had to sell the NEC. In order to pay a debt where they were found to have paid people in an unequal way, and they're now going to be looking after business across the West Midlands. I'm kind of connecting all the dots here because quite recently there was a suggestion that Birmingham City Council, somebody from the council had said, you're going to have to accept it, everybody else in the area, because we're number one. We're the top table. We're the top players. We're the dominant partner. Yeah, OK, but you come into the table minus £1 billion, aren't you? How does that figure for things for people for Wolverhampton, West Brom, Walsall, Dudley, Sutton, Stourbridge, and even Solihull and maybe Coventry as well? Let's get a union perspective on all this. What's it going to mean for people? What's it going to mean for jobs? Not only people who work in the public sector in the council, but work in other public sectors as well. Let's talk to Alan Lewis, who's from Unite, who joins on the show. Hi, Alan.
Hiya.
What do you think of this super... I've been screaming at the radio the last 10 hours going, what about the real people?
Yeah.
So what about the real people? What's it going to mean to them, Alan?
Well, one of the dangers in any of this type of merger is that job losses are the main saving. But as we're losing jobs hand over fist anyway, that wouldn't be my primary concern. My concern is the point that's just been made, that this would be just sticking bits onto Birmingham City Council, and I'm not sure that is the most efficient way to run the West Midlands. But like with all of these things, if you're just duplicating what you've already got, then what's the point of doing it? It's about being efficient from a point of view of the services that you provide, so that, instant savings would be you would only need one chief executive. So, you could get rid of the 5 or 6 others that you've got.
That ain't going to happen, is it? Come on, I don't know where you slept last night, but
if that's not going to happen, then what's the point? You'd need fewer chiefs and more Indians, not the other way around.
Well, let me just run through some things past you, because we had Dr. Matt Cole with us earlier on, who was saying, 2 options really, what you could look at. It could either be a whole new entity, so you either elect people to this council, and it's a whole new tier, a whole new entity on top of what we've got, or it could be a selection. I'm not quite sure who would select it, of councillors from the existing council. It's like a kind of a United Nations of councils, if you like. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing, where they go up and represent. Now, both of those have still got costs attached to them, and we'll come to that in a second.
Yeah.
But what do you think about that? Either the first option or the second option, or both? Or are you okay with that? Are you okay with that in terms of... But that would mean, obviously, both of those would mean that current staff and councillors would stay in place, and there wouldn't be any savings in that sense, would there?
Yeah. I mean, I was involved many years ago in the formation of unitary authorities, and... every local authority put forward a plan to be a unitary authority. They spent millions of pounds on it when the intention was only to make the larger cities unitary authorities. So if somebody's got a blueprint before you start, then, let's see what the blueprint is, because if not, local authorities will waste a shed load of money, and we won't finish up with something that is actually has the ability to do what it says on the tin, and that supposedly is to show the West Midlands as an entity that can attract business and enterprise and can provide services in an efficient and effective manner.
All right, you haven't got to rush off, have you, Alan? Have you got 2 seconds? I just want.
I'm fine. Yeah.
All right, I've just got a nip to travel. There's so much more I want to ask you, and we'll talk some more. If you want to comment on what Alan's saying, by the way, 03453 009956. From a union perspective, we'll get more of a chat back in a second. 81333 on the text. Start your message WM. Some great calls coming through and great texts coming through this morning as well. Keep them coming. We'll be catching up with Alan Lewis from Unite, the other side of the travel news, which comes from us right now from Matthew Sparks.
Good morning. Through Cannock this morning, a major problem on Avon Road, the A4601, the old Cannock Road as it is, closed by an accident at Mill Street at the A34. Staffordshire Police are dealing with that closure, so Avon Road closed by Mill Street, naturally causing some delays in the area. There's some troubles for traffic through Aston, with the Aston Bridge still closed to traffic. Works on the Black Country New Road through Great Bridge, the A41, a lane closure by the Navigation roundabout, and also still some roadworks to watch out for through Hagley as well on the A456 Kidderminster Road, temporary lights by the Stourbridge Road. If you can update us, call BBC WM 95.6 Travel 08453 002288.
Still haven't forgiven you for your reindeer pun last half hour.
Middleton, Mile Oak, Moseley, Oldbury, Pattingham.
Have your say across the West Midlands.
BBC WM.
It was very good.
5.6.
We were talking about whether you'd eat reindeer or not. It's coming up on the show a little bit later on, and he said I wouldn't have 2 reindeer steaks because that would be too dear. More from Matthew a little bit later on the show. We're talking about Super Council on the show this morning, though, right now, and whether it would be a good idea or whether it would just be a way of widening the borders for Birmingham City Council and would then impact on Walsall, Wolverhampton, Dudley, Stourbridge, West Brom, could even bring Tamworth in as well. And really, what real benefits is it going to bring? We're talking from a union perspective because Alan Lewis from Unite is with us. He's patiently hanging on. You talked about jobs, Alan, and whether job losses wouldn't be a primary concern, not least the fact because you're just losing so many anyway. Do you worry that this is part of councillors seeing their empire being eroded and they actually think, this is the pound sign comes back, we're going to get more money if we have a super council, this is a great way of bringing money back in?
I don't think so. Depending on whose money you're talking about, whether you're talking about councillors being paid or whether this is a way of maintaining their presence in a larger authority, I don't know.
Well, if it brings more, because it's all our money, isn't it? And they all forget that, but it's all our money. But if it brings more of our money back to the West Midlands, is that, whatever happens or however that happens, and as long as there's a net value to it rather than a net cost, isn't that a good thing? Whatever it looks like, if it brings more of our pounds back, our tax pounds back into the West Midlands, let's do it.
Well, obviously, if we can generate more money by creating a larger, more efficient authority, then clearly that's got to be an advantage. But just let me correct you in terms of the priority on jobs. The point I was making was let's not get hung up on what would normally be the efficiency saving in a merger of local authorities.
Yeah.
Coventry, for example, they've said I think it's 1,500 jobs potentially could go. So if we can save those some of those jobs that would have gone in any event, then that isn't the necessarily the primary reason for turning the idea down. What I'm happy about is the discussion that says it's costing us X billions of pounds to run local authorities now. Yeah. If we can do it more efficiently for the same amount of money, providing the same level of service, so on and so forth, then let's talk about it. But not not duplicating what you've already got.
Yeah. Julia in Tividale has sent a really good text through this morning. Morning, Julia. Says the one thing that's held this area back is the failure to expand the airport. As for Greater Birmingham, I really don't think we have a choice. It will happen anyway, says Julia. And she makes 2 really good points there. First of all, the airport expansion And it was quite telling, really, to see that, that they were only considering the 3 London airports when they were looking about airport expansion, weren't they? So we didn't even get a chance to go to the table to have that conversation. If we had a super council, do you think they would have muscled their way in, and would it have been taken any more seriously?
Yeah, and it's those sorts of things that attracts inward investment. But, you know, you look at the HS2, you know, where people say it might be a good idea, but I don't want it coming through my backyard.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and you get into all those sorts of negative viewpoints that you've lost before you've started. And so,
but HS2 is a good acceptance of the fact that, I mean, they can make as much noise as they like about commitment. This is Westminster politicians I'm talking about commitment to the West Midlands. But the fact that they want HS2 still suggests that the epicentre of business and commerce is going to be London, and we have a need to get to London more quickly, don't we? So, in a way, they're actually telling us what they really feel by HS2 without sort of saying it out loud. So they're actually saying, you're not that important in the West Midlands. Have your little railway, because that will get you to London quicker, because that's where you need to be.
I think you think too much.
My wife says that. Listen, bottom line, good or bad idea. And I know we've talked, and there's a lot of issues, and I know you're right, there are a lot of variables, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, honestly, Alan, but just gut feeling, I won't hold you to it, gut feeling, good or bad idea, Super Council.
Yeah, well, it's not just you holding me to it. You know, I'm speaking from almost a personal position, and I don't know what the union's policy on a greater West Midlands Authority actually will turn out to be. But clearly, you know, I've been in local government over a long period of time, and unfortunately seen the same sorts of discussions before, and invariably they lead to more costly authorities being created less efficiently, and I wouldn't be in favour of doing that. But from a West Midlands point of view, if it has the ability to attract greater investment, to put West Midlands on the map, as it were, then it's got to be a good thing.
I'm going to have that quote put on my website. Alan Lewis Unite says, "You think too much."
Yeah.
And so does Mrs. O'Connor. Good to talk to you, Alan. Thanks for kicking it around for us this morning. Appreciate that.
Cheers.
Alan Lewis. He's right. I do, though. Don't you think, though? With HS2, that is what they're saying, is that, have your little train set, but where we need to be really is London. Some of your texts this morning. Let's rename West Midlands County Greater Birmingham. Simple, says Old Timer on the text. No, you're missing the point. We should call it South Manchester. That would be more accurate. Phil in Smethwick says it's Sandwell, not West Brom. That's one of the 6 towns. And also on the text this morning, Mark says it wasn't Birmingham County Council. It was West Midlands County Council. He says, get your facts right. Ooh. Thanks, Mark, on the text this morning. 81333, start your message, WM. And Mike in Walsall says, Shane, here we go. Invisible hand of the EU influencing local administration in the UK. Divide and rule. Birmingham needs to put its own house in order before boasting about being the dominant entity in this region. We get a vote on a crime czar, but not on the formation of a super council. So anti-democratic. The production powerhouses are in a wider West Midlands, not in Birmingham, which are vacuuming up credit for anything noteworthy in the West Midlands. Mike in Walsall, what a great text this morning. Thanks for that, mate. 81333, start your message, WM. If you want to join us on the show this morning. It's Shane O'Connor sitting in for Iain Lee between now and 12.
Pete Morgan at breakfast.
Claire Peters from Walsall Wood. She's being treated for ovarian cancer.
Good evening, everybody. I'm going to have a lot of chemo.
Right.
Right through till January.
Claire, I've got somebody on the line.
Morning. Hi, Claire. Oh, God, it's me, mate, Julie. I'm sorry it's not Noddy Older. Can I just thank you so much from the bottom of my heart?
Claire, it's almost like people love you.
Oh, and I love everyone as well. Because I love to put smiles on people's faces, and that's what I live for.
Pete Morgan at breakfast.
Monday to Friday, 6 till 9.
BBC WM 95.6.
Morning, I'm Shane O'Connor, sitting in for Iain Lee. Thanks for being with us this morning. Some great calls so far. Hopefully it's going to continue for the next couple of hours. If you want to have your say, 03453 009956. We're going to mix the topics up now. It's the 8th of November. Yeah, it's time to get your Christmas hat on. 46 days left until the 25th of December. Can you hear that ringing in your ears as well? You might think it's a bit early to get all Christmassy, but according to Birmingham City Council, it isn't. They've organised their big Christmas parade today, 5:30 this afternoon. Councillor Penny Holbrook is the Cabinet Member for Skills, Learning and Culture at the Council, and he's with us on the show. Morning, Penny.
Morning.
And Christmas as well, you've got lumbered with as well, by the look of it.
Come on. You don't get lumbered with Christmas. Christmas is exciting.
46 days away, though. Come on, you're getting a bit, as the Americans would say, you're getting a bit previous, aren't you?
No, Christmas should be here all the time, I think. Christmas is really exciting. But there is a sensible part to it as well, which is we need to drive the city's economy. And the longer that we have the lights and the more fun that we have and the greater we make Birmingham for people to come and visit, it drives trade and helps to keep business going and ultimately helps keep our brummies in jobs. There is a sensible part to it.
Can you peak too soon, though? I mean, I hear what you're saying, but you know, if we started talking about advertising summer holidays now for next summer, people might go, oh, actually, you know, that puts me off a little bit. So it can be counterproductive, can't it?
I think people always start to have this conversation now about, oh, is it too early for Christmas? As soon as bonfire night's out of the way, we see stuff in the shops already. But the retail are driving the Christmas trend already. We have huge numbers of people come to Birmingham for Christmas. 4.3 million people came last year just to come and see the German market and to do their shopping in Birmingham.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people to accommodate, so we want to accommodate them over the longest period of time that we can. And also, there are 1 million people in this city. We want as many of them as possible to get the chance to come through the city centre, spend some time there, and actually enjoy the free Christmas spirit for your average brummie as well.
I mean, the other thing as well is that it's not even something of our own invention, is it really? Come and see the German market, and you go,
well,
oh, okay, we're not got a Birmingham market then that we can come and see, or do you know what I mean? It's a bit. I'm not being bar hungry, but I'm just trying to analyse exactly what we're saying here. Come to Birmingham and see the German market. Why don't I go to Germany?
Well, you could go to Germany, but how many of your average brummies can afford to go to Germany every year for a Christmas market? And it's one of the several markets that we have in Birmingham. We have a craft fair, we have a Birmingham market, we have a food market, we have the German market. And we've had it for so long now that it is part of our identity. The fact that we have a German Christmas market is known to all brummies. It's what we do. We have people asking all the time, when's it coming, when's it coming, when does it start?
Yeah.
And then also, you know, every year we have the same thing, which is it's too soon, why is it a German market, there's too many people. And it's a really difficult thing to balance. But I guarantee you, if we weren't doing it, you would be saying to me, oh, bar humbug,
why do you do it? Yeah, I mean, the other thing...
Overall, it's a positive thing.
So I'm saying 46 days left and you're going on about Christmas. You're saying you should have my job. People ask me twice the distance ahead of Christmas, when's it happening, and they're looking forward to it all happening.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a really good thing. I mean, who in Birmingham doesn't know that, you know, Christmas is coming when the German market comes and we turn the lights on? And we've got some exciting stuff today. We've got Father Christmas.
Yeah.
We've got some brilliant roller skating Christmas puddings and stilt walking Christmas trees.
Oh, what did you say? So if you've got roller skating Christmas puddings, I'll be there then. If you did just mention that to start with. Blooming heck. Who's turning...
Never too early for a roller skating Christmas pudding.
Who's turning the lights on, Penny? Who is it?
Father Christmas is turning the lights on.
Ah, that's nice. Traditional.
And you have to book him early in advance as well, because there's only one of them and he's got a whole world to deal with.
Oh, well, yeah.
So you've got to start early if you want Father Christmas.
That is true. You can't just... It's no good Christmas Eve. He's going to be doing other stuff. Penny, have a good day today. Thanks for joining us, explaining that. If they'd have just said we've got roller skating Christmas puddings to start with, I'd have signed up for it. Seriously, though, what do you think? Too early or not? Love to know your thoughts on this. 03453 009956. Let's catch up with the latest travel. Oh, no, we don't have travel, do we, at this hour? We do have it in about 15 minutes' time, so we will keep you up to date with that. It's Shane O'Connor sitting in for Iain Lee between now and midday. So what do you think? Christmas, is it too early to have a Christmas parade on the 8th of November? 03453 009956. 81333 on the text, start your message, WM. And also we're asking you, what are the landmarks of the West Midlands The big things that you see and you think, yeah, that's when I know I'm home when I see that. Is it the bull in the bull ring or the hippo in Walsall?
Waking up the West Midlands with the latest news, sport, weather and travel updates. P. Morgan at breakfast, back Monday morning from 6.
The 2014 BBC Local Radio Station of the Year.
BBC WM 95.6.
Love to hear you and let you know what you think of some of those topics. We'll carry on discussing those. 10 o'clock, though, let's get the latest news this morning. Here's Nicole Pullman.
President Obama has authorised the deployment of an extra 1,500 military personnel to Iraq. The troops will have a non-combat role, providing training and assistance to Iraqi and Kurdish forces fighting ISIS militants. The Pentagon spokesman, Rear Admiral John Kirby, said previous efforts to train local forces had been undermined by the previous Iraqi government.
Yeah, we did. Spent a lot of money and effort training the Iraqi army. And when we left in 2011, we left them capable and competent to the threat that they faced. That opportunity they were given, the skills that they were provided, the leadership that they had were squandered by the Maliki government over the last three and a half years.
Thousands of war widows, including those whose partners died in the Falklands, Iraq and Afghanistan, are to be allowed to remarry without losing military pensions. The government acted following a campaign by armed forces charities. It had described the present pension arrangements as shameful. The Minister for Veterans is Anna Soubry.
It was never about the money. It was about doing the right thing. And the way that we can achieve the right thing is by looking at the covenant, which says you shouldn't suffer a disadvantage because of your usually husband, because we're talking about largely about a group of women. So they shouldn't suffer a disadvantage. That's what the covenant says. This is how we do it, by applying the covenant. So we're delivering at last on the covenant. And that's what we've got to do, because it's not just words.
A man has a serious eye injury after a firework exploded in his face in Willenhall. It happened at Willenhall Rugby Club in Essington last night. The man, who's in his 50s, was treated at the scene by ambulance staff and then taken to hospital. One of the world's biggest hotel booking agents has admitted it's been targeted by hackers. 10,000 reservations were accessed by fraudsters who told customers to pay in advance or they'd lose their room. The firm has reimbursed people, some of whom lost hundreds of pounds. Paul Lewis from the BBC's Moneybox programme has been looking into the scam.
You should always be wary of surprise emails or phone calls, whether you're with Booking.com or any other online booking agent. And if you've agreed to pay in arrears, if you like, when you leave the hotel, then that should be honoured. Sometimes, of course, you do pay in advance when you make the booking, but there's no kind of middle way.
Football and Gary Rowett's honeymoon period as the News Blues manager may well be tested at home to Cardiff City this afternoon. A second successive home win would likely lift Blues out of the Championship's bottom three. But Rowett's not expecting an easy ride from the Cardiff boss, Russell Slade.
Yeah, Russell's a really nice guy. I've spoken to him on numerous occasions, getting players from him at Leyton Orient, and absolutely, yeah, he's been a very, very good manager for a hell of a lot longer than me, that's for sure.
The weather, a wet and windy day. The rain should gradually ease off later in the afternoon. Temperatures around 12 Celsius, 54 Fahrenheit this afternoon. A largely dry and clear night to come with lows of 11 Celsius, 52 Fahrenheit. BBC WM 95.6 News. There's more online at bbc.co.uk/WM.
Shane O'Connor
on BBC WM
95.6, the voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
Thanks, Nicole. Apropos nothing at all, really. I just wanted to mention this because it was all over social media and it's in the papers, it's in the news today as well. Shane O'Connor, by the way, sitting in for Iain Lee between now and 12. Did you see the woman, Sheila Marsh, I apologise, who... The staff at the hospital, she was dying of cancer, and the staff at the hospital she was at wheeled her out, this Wigan Royal Infirmary, wheeled her out into the car park so that she could say goodbye to her horse. Oh, man, what a heartbreaking story. If you saw that at all, it's in the papers today as well. Doesn't make as I thought it'd make a bigger splash because it was all over social media. So I just want to mention that. And is it Wigan Royal Infirmary? You should be so proud of yourselves. I mean, I know people in the hospital. We talk about hospitals and how rubbish the service can be and, what a big problem it can be. And you do kind of think there are an awful lot of good people within the NHS who do an amazing job. And Wigan Royal Infirmary, you so got that one right. And they photographed it. Not a dry eye in the house, as they say. When we were looking at that, the horse saying goodbye to her owner, who was dying of cancer, and she sadly passed away, I think, a few hours later.
Have your say.
Across the West Midlands, call
03453 00
9956.
BBC WM 95.6.
Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. What are we talking about today? We're going to mix and match for the next couple of hours as well. So whatever you've heard on the show, if you want to give us a call and throw your thoughts in, 03453 00 9956. There's some great calls that we've had that we didn't get time to do in the previous hour about super councils, which we'll be going back to as well. So we'll still be talking about that, whether you think that's a good idea. Interestingly enough, by the way, and I forgot to mention this, we were talking about super councils earlier. If you kind of think, actually, I would like to know more now about exactly what's being proposed, my old mate Patrick Burns tomorrow explores the idea of the combined authority on the Sunday Politics show, 12:25, BBC One. Catch up with Patrick Burns and the team, because they will be looking at that on that show, on the Sunday Politics show. So if you want more info and you're a bit like me, a bit lazy, and you just want somebody like Patrick who's intelligent to tell you what it's all about, 12:25 BBC One tomorrow, the Sunday Politics show. Patrick will be putting you across that. In the meantime, we've been talking about it on the show, and I'd love to know your thoughts, whether you live under the remit of Birmingham City Council or Sandwell Council or Wolverhampton City Council, where it is you're living across our area today. What's your perspective? Because I've heard a lot from councillors, I've heard a lot from politicians, I've heard a lot from business people. We've even heard from academics on the show this morning, but we've also been hearing from real people who tell us what they think. 03453 00 9956. That's what the show's all about. 81333 on the text. Start your message WM to join me. Also, and here's one for you. If you think, politics a bit heavy for me on a Saturday morning, when do you start Christmas? When is we just heard the Christmas fair starts today in Birmingham, the Christmas market, the Birmingham market, the German market that they do every year, which is fab. I love it. I love it as much as the next person. But it's the 8th of November, for goodness sake. We haven't even put all our bonfires out yet, and some of them have still to be lit because of bonfire night being in the week. You do a bonfire last weekend, you're probably going to one this weekend as well. That's acceptable to me. And all of a sudden, we're crashing into a Christmas parade. Is it too early to start your official turning on of the lights Christmas parade, starting your Christmas markets? I want your thoughts on that one on the show this morning. And as they switched on the Sky Needles, you probably don't even know what they are. If you follow me on Twitter, then have a look. If you don't, Shane on Air, all one word, ShaneOnair. Shane on Air. Have a look. I've tweeted a picture of the Sky Needles, which were switched on above the NIA, and they're hoping that they're going to be a landmark for the West Midlands. And we're asking you this morning, what are ours? I thought straight away the Bull in Birmingham and the Hippo in Walsall. We must have others. 03453 00 9956 is my number. Now, let's talk Christmas with Helen. Hi, Helen.
Oh, good morning, Shane.
Too early or not?
Can I just go back a little bit?
Go on, yeah.
The lady with the horse.
Oh, man.
Talk about cry.
Oh, man. I
just think that is most touching, really emotional.
My missus showed it me last night, and I was choking back the tears. I just thought, because as an animal lover, you just think, I get that totally. I really get that. You know what I mean?
I do think that animals do have, when someone is poorly, they do sit with you, or they'll just cajole you.
Did you see it, though? He went up and kissed her.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Oh, don't start me off, Ellen.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, but you're right. And now we've got to talk about it. What? Just the hospital. I want to send them an email.
How amazing is that? I mean, and there are. Sorry, going on to a tangent again.
I don't know if. Do you know? I've got to check. See if they. Are you on Twitter?
No, I'm not.
Oh, right, okay. I was going to order on Facebook. I've got to see if the hospital's on Twitter or Facebook. At least we can do is send them. We should all send them a tweet this morning.
But there's also, hospices.
Yeah.
And they let their pets come in, and they sit with them.
Yeah.
And animals do have a connection with their owner.
Yeah. I did some work with. Have you heard of Myton Hospices? I did some work with them, and they're all fabulous. They're all amazing hospices. They are on my list of jobs of people where you think, my God, I'm glad they do it, because I don't think I would be able to do what they do. Do you know what I mean? I've got quite a long list of jobs like that now. But we did some work with Myton Hospices through work, and I went to visit them. And they were telling me about some of the stuff they did, and they've done everything from had Christmas in July to, as you say, allow people to bring pets, dogs, cats, fish, budgies, whatever it is whatever you want.
That's it.
That's what hospices do, isn't it? And they are. You're right. You bang on the button there. They are amazing. But it just broke my heart. It did. I'm amazed. Actually, I'm just looking in the mail today. I don't know. It was just the first paper I grabbed, and I'm absolutely amazed. I can't find it now, but it made, after page 30, I think, probably about 28, 29, page 28, 29. If I was an editor, that would have been my picture story this morning. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know what their picture story are, but if that was me, I'd have said, the horse kissing the woman, she's lying flat out in bed, she's only got hours to live, and they're in the car park. I just thought, Wigan Hospital, you got it so right. You were just so amazing. But good point on that one. I just thought I'd mention it, because I just thought... It touched me, and I'm sure it touched, hundreds of thousands of other people as well. Anyway, Christmas.
Right, Christmas.
Too early or what?
Well, we go away Christmas. We're going to India. So.
Have you been before?
Oh, God, yeah.
Okay, because I just say... We travel. My wife drags me around the world. I'm a really lucky boy like that. And we don't smoke, we don't drink. That's what we like to spend our money on.
Yeah.
Go somewhere. And we went to India, and it was the worst holiday we've ever had.
Where did you go?
And we went on the Golden Triangle, to Jaipur and I forget the other. But anyway, suffice to say, I thought I was going to. And I know men over exaggerate this. I had dysentery. That's how bad I was. So don't laugh, you rotten swine. I thought I was going to die. I didn't think I was going to see the plane on the way back.
You didn't have dysentery at all.
I did. I swear to God. We went to the doctors afterwards, and they did tests because we were still ill. And they said, you've had dysentery. Everybody says that. We weren't going, I've got a bit of a dicky tummy. I couldn't drink water, Helen. I was so ill.
Did you not take Imodium with you?
Oh, Imodium? It laughed in the face of Imodium. It went, I'm dysentery. There's no way. Imodium, you come with me with your puny Imodium. Honestly, I couldn't drink water. I was that ill. I've got the photos are just of bathrooms across India.
Oh, please don't tell me you took photos of your dysentery.
No, not of the dysentery, of my view from the bathroom. This was the bathroom we were in Jaipur, and this is the bathroom. It was just lovely. Anyway, have a lovely time. So you were saying you go away for Christmas. I'm only gutted because it kind of ruined it. And I have to say, it amazed me. India amazed me as well. So filthy. I've never known a country... And I include Southeast Asia, which has its problems with poverty. I've never seen poverty like it, Helen.
I absolutely adore it.
Do you?
Absolutely.
Sri Lanka I like, because we went down south at the end of it.
Sri Lanka?
And I've been to Sri Lanka before.
Everything closes at 9:30.
Yeah. Well, I'm in bed by then. I'm an early riser, what can I tell you? Anyway, sorry, go on. So you were saying you go away for Christmas?
Yeah, we go away on the 11th of December.
Okay, well, that's...
For 3 weeks.
That's still a bit early, isn't it, really, for talking about Christmas?
But tomorrow...
3 weeks?
Yeah. But tomorrow...
I'd come with you if you weren't going to India, but carry on, yeah.
Tomorrow we are decorating the whole house, because our Christmas, and we always do it, is the Sunday before we go away.
Yeah.
That is our Christmas.
Okay, what, your UK Christmas? So do you not celebrate Christmas when you're in India, then?
Oh, my God, it's amazing. Trust me, honestly, listen, Sean, listen.
Yeah.
Shane, listen.
Yeah.
Right, you go down to the beach on Christmas Eve.
I'm not going again before you say it, but go on.
Go to Goa.
Goa, right, okay.
All right?
Yeah.
You go down to the beach on Christmas Eve. There are bonfires, there are fireworks. It's fabulous. Absolutely beautiful. And then New Year's Eve, it's exactly the same. And they have fireworks, and they have bonfires. Okay, the fireworks. Okay, they're a bit. Health and safety is not really that.
No, I've seen the wiring. So yeah, the fireworks you can imagine. Yeah.
Oh, but the people are just amazing, and it's just so wonderful.
How many times have you done that?
We've been going now for 22 years.
Right. Right, I get it. So that's become your, and because it's not very expensive. Once you, probably the most expensive thing is your airfare, isn't it, to go? Or I would have thought.
Yeah, the airfare is expensive, but to buy a bottle of Kingfisher is about 80p.
Yeah. So you can live like a king once you're there.
Yeah, £20 a day, that's all you need.
Oh, that is fantastic. That sounds... So for you, it can't come quick enough then, is the short answer to the question.
Absolutely.
Helen, lovely to talk to you.
Just look after your dysentery.
Oh, well, thanks for that. Dr. Helen, you didn't have dysentery. Thanks for that. Oh, I needed you. I tell you what, if you'd have been there with me, I'd have needed you like a... Well, I was going to say hole in the head, but it was... Oh, no, I don't even want to think about it now. Helen in Stafford. We're going to talk to Matthew in a few moments. Matthew, stay patient. Be with you in a sec. Just going to catch up with the latest travel news. Because we bought a job lot of Matthews, and we've got to use them all up. Matthew Sparks has got the travel this morning. Morning, Matthew.
Indeed, 2 for 1. Through Cannock this morning, Avon Road closed by an accident, say Staffordshire Police. The road shut by Mill Street at the A34, naturally causing some delays in the area. A wet morning across the West Midlands, of course, but not having any impact on traffic flow. Certainly your lights would be the wise option this morning, but the motorways seem to be OK. Through Aston Bridge has that closure just off from Dartmouth Circus. Works in Great Bridge for the Black Country New Road on the A41, where we're down to one lane just by the navigation island. And of course, a big set of roadworks towards the Hagley direction for the A456. We've got some restrictions in force just by the Stourbridge Road turn. And of course, those works still continue around the Bearwood direction up by the Amber Tavern. So potential problems there as well. But public transport this morning doesn't seem to be too bad as far as I can see. If you can update us, call BBC WM 95.6 Travel 08453 002288.
Also, I want to call you Matt, and I don't know whether I should or not, because I get told off. I always shorten people's names, and probably because Shane is one that you can't get shortened, or people call me Shay sometimes, but that's a different name entirely. But
it's a really interesting point, because I've introduced myself as Matt to people before, and then someone I knew for 2-3 years, I went, "Oh, hi, it's Matthew," and she went, "Who?"
It doesn't take much to throw him, does it, really? So what do you prefer, then? Are you a Matt or a Matthew? Can I call you Matt?
I have a Matthew preference, but hey, we're friends.
No, I want to call
you.
Let's
hug it up and do it.
Quick one for you, Matthew, then. Ever spent Christmas anywhere other than home? Because I've just got a great text in about Malta, and I was talking to Helen there, who goes to Goa and has done for the last 22 years. Ever spent Christmas anywhere other than at home? In any other country?
At work.
Oh, yeah, that's rubbish.
Do you know, I was talking to my other half about this the other day. Yeah. The thought of flying out on Christmas Day, which some people do, and I understand, that to me is hell.
Interesting. Although it's probably one of the best, ironically, one of the best days to fly out on. Matthew, thank you. We'll check in with him in about half an hour's time. Ever spent Christmas anywhere other than the UK?
I'm Doug Ellis. War broke out in August 1914, just before the new season kicked off, but it was decided to maintain the league for the following season, and it was not a popular decision.
World War I on the BBC.
Mildred kept a notebook, and in it she wrote,
"In 1916, I was asked to resign from the Guide owing to the fact that my mother was German by birth."
BBC WM reveals the untold stories of World War I in Birmingham and the Black Country.
German Zeppelins were bombing Britain. In 1916, Bertie became only the second fighter pilot to down one of the giant airships.
World War I at Home continues this week on BBC WM 95.6.
18 minutes past 10. Shane O'Connor sitting in for Iain Lee between now and 12. Join me. 03453 009956. There's another one to throw in this morning. Have you ever spent Christmas anywhere other than the UK? What was it like? Tell us about that one. Got a great text about Malta in a second. Do that one. Let's talk to Matthew in Orwas. Hi, Matthew.
Hi, hello, how are you?
Are you a Matt or a Matthew?
I'm a Matt, yeah.
I'm going to call you Matthew. I as a way of, I don't know whether I'm trying to be friendly or what, but I do have a penchant for shortening people's names, and I constantly get told off, and I totally get it, because people call me Sean all the while.
Yeah.
When my name's Shane.
When people first meet me, they call me Matthew, but after a bit they call me Matt.
And do you mind that?
No, yeah, I don't mind at all, no.
Okay, you're easy. You're an easy roller, I can tell, though.
Quite laid back.
Now, talking about Christmas...
Well, I'm calling up about this idea of joining councils together.
Okay.
I think it's a good idea. My problem would be is that Birmingham Council, for instance, are totally incompetent, and to trust these people with more money horrifies me.
You see, now normally I would say to you, "Oh no, because you can't say that about Birmingham," but they've had to pay. They've had to sell the NEC so they can pay a billion pound debt. So I don't think really anyone will be phoning up to argue the toss with you, will you?
I mean, the problem is, like for instance, that lady just came on from Birmingham City Council talking about the German market, which we still call it.
Yes.
Now, there are 4 million people come through this city.
Yeah.
It's 7 markets together. Yet Birmingham City Council still haven't had the good idea of rebranding it. They still call it the German market.
Although, wasn't it Birmingham City Council who rebranded Christmas Winterval? Do you remember that? Was that them?
Yeah, but my point is, they've got this market, it's amazing, and they still call it a German market. And that's my point now. The trouble is now, they'll now go, oh, that's a good idea, let's rebrand it, and pay some company £1 million to rebrand it.
Right.
And this is the problem. It's like they pay £4 million to have 2 websites. The Birmingham website and the library website. They pay £5 an hour for anyone to call up the council. Did you know that £5 a call, sorry?
What do you mean? In what way?
Well, they pay a company. This company
charges
I can't remember
them.
the name, and they pay them a certain amount of money every year. It's been massive in the press. It's been on this radio before.
Right.
And this company basically service Birmingham City Centre, Birmingham Council.
I know what you mean. There's a lot. There's companies like Atos, aren't they? There's a lot of these kind of service companies.
And they charge them for their website, for the hosting, and they do all the calls and services. And did you know, every time someone calls up the council, this company charges them £4. So rather than having all their own people, I mean, like the websites, for instance, rather than having 3 or 4 designers in-house who could service this, they pay some company £2 million a year, and this is, and it's like they've failed on childcare. I mean, look at the childcare problems we have in this city, the rubbish issues, and then they're now saying to us, trust us with all these other councils. I'm sorry, I wouldn't trust them to cut my back garden.
I'm just checking. It was Birmingham City Council, a season of public events in Birmingham organised by the City Council called Winterval, which ran from the 20th of November to the 31st of December 1997. God, I've got a good memory.
Winterval,
they're called Christmas. That was their contribution.
And when they branded Birmingham, and they used to have marketing Birmingham, I don't know if that's gone down as well now. Hopefully it has, because all that used to do is commission outside advertising agencies from London to do our work. But anyway.
Do you know? Sometimes it takes outsiders to look at your area and kind of go, why'd you do that and why'd you do this? And the idea, as you say, and I've never really understood, and this is, I was born in Walsall, but I lived in, so I class myself as a Brummie more than a black country, because I spent more time there, I suppose. But when people say, Birmingham, so what's Birmingham got at Christmas? A German market. The first thing if that was America, you go, well, how does that work? How does that?
That's my point. It's not, it's just rebranding. It's a thing. They've just got no creative. I'm sorry, because the trouble is, for me, people commission in the councils and everywhere, they commission people who tick boxes, who aren't going to do anything too dangerous to show them up. And the problem is with these people, they're lovely people,
right,
do all their work well, but they're not very creative.
Yeah.
They can't think outside the box, and to be great, you have to be creative and think outside the box. Otherwise, we'd always still be living in caves, worrying about what's outside.
All right, then, here's one for you, Matthew. As a Christmas parade starting on the 8th of November, is that thinking creatively? Is that thinking outside the box? Or is that just jumping the gun?
They've been forced to do that by the shops, because the shops want to get people into the city, and they've got a massive centre and they've got so many people.
Yeah.
But
although again, I don't know. The idea is, how do you appease the shops by putting more shops in there? Because that's essentially what you're doing, isn't it?
They've got to start this thing now, I suppose, because people do their shopping now.
Right, but if they start on the 8th of November, I'm not going to have more money if they start earlier, am I? I've only got so much money to spend, and I'm not going to spend more of it because they're doing it for longer, am I? That's the thing that I think. I don't know.
I suppose there is a lot of people who will go and shop in November. I suppose they want to. Right. I can't personally knock them for that, but my point is what you've just said. If you go to America or anywhere else around the world and there's a German market, rather than talking about what people talk about is, one of the biggest German markets is in Birmingham City Centre, rather than saying Birmingham has got this amazing Christmas offering.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. And part of it is a German market.
Yeah, the Birmingham market experience, or whatever.
This is my point.
Yeah.
4 million people are coming through the city centre, and all they take away is a hot dog, a German market, and a silly little bell, and they get drunk.
Hey, that's visitors to Birmingham for you. Matthew, great call. Thanks for that, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Have a good day. Matthew in Orwell joined us on the show. Julia says, I don't bother going to the Birmingham Christmas market, by the way. Last year, it was so crowded. It isn't comfortable. She said also she felt there were many pickpockets around. Yeah, it is. I'll be honest with you. And I was saying about, I thought it was great. I think I suffer from this. You know, when the thought of it is better than the actuality of it. And I remember was it last year I was dragged through there, up New Street and that, through by the missus when we came here to see something. And I remember thinking at the time, I don't think I want to do this again for fun.
Penn, Pensnet,
Rugeley, Redditch,
Rowley Regis.
Have your say across the West Midlands.
BBC WM
95.6.
That's me, actually, though. I'd probably rather do it online, and there are a lot of people out there who would rather do it like that as well. So there you go. We're also talking on the show this morning about landmarks, the Sky Needles, and I'm going to be swayed by you on this one. The jury's out in my brain on whether this is great or not. If you want to see what we're talking about, it's on our Facebook page. Just search for BBC WM 95.6 on Facebook. You can see a picture of the Sky Needles. I've also tweeted a picture as well, Shane on air. On Twitter, all one word, of the Sky Needles on top of the NIA Arena. It's hoping to become a landmark. It's hoping to become known as a landmark for the area. They're 3 rods, which, as I say, you can see a photo of on our Facebook page, and they light up. These 3 things, the Sky Needles, they're calling them. I'm starting to form a view. Can you tell? But we're asking about what are the landmarks of the West Midlands, and are these contenders? Are these in the race for being a landmark? Let us know. Comment on our Facebook page, or you can send me a tweet as well. Let's get what I would class as a professional view on all of this. Rachel Campbell-Johnson is the chief art critic for The Times, and is with us on the show. Morning, Rachel.
Good morning.
Oh, I don't know. I'm starting to have a titter to myself. I'm starting to form a view, quite obviously, whether I think this is a good idea or not.
But, I can hear it in your voice.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to be flippant too early on. I don't want to peak too soon. What do you think of the Sky Needles? First off, what's your first impression?
Well, I mean, looking at the photograph I've seen, as your listeners are going to see, they look incredibly unimpressive.
Don't beat about the bush. Come on.
No, I'm not beating about the bush. And the only thing I can say which is optimistic is that you can never, ever know with these landmarks, because they take on a life of their own. And it's not going to be known until your listeners and other people start seeing whether they, I don't know, negotiate their way around the city, or say, let's meet by the Sky Needles, or turn it into something which is part of their daily life. And that's the only way that landmarks take off. I mean, the Angel of the North, that wasn't foreseen at all, the success that was going to have. There were a lot of complaints about it. It's going to be dangerous beside the road. People are going to crash. All these things. And as it took off, and it made the career of Anthony Gormley, who made it, and it has become probably the most famous landmark in Britain, bar Stonehenge, perhaps.
Although, I was thinking about the Angel of the North. I'm not really... Now, Stonehenge, I know where that... Stonehenge is in Wiltshire, isn't it?
It is.
The Angel of the North, I'm not really quite sure where it is, because they kind of put it nowhere, didn't they? If they'd have put it in a you know, the centre of Gateshead or in the middle of Newcastle or something like that, we'd probably know it a little better and know it where it is. But the location is obviously has an impact on all of this, doesn't it, as well, Rachel?
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that really makes a landmark is not just the thing in itself, but how it stands out from its surroundings. That's where the Sky Needles seem to fail.
The context of it, the environment.
It's the context, it's the environment. So, you know, we go back to Stonehenge. There it is. It's on a plain. So people from miles around, from prehistoric days, would have seen these great big stones stand out. They would have seen it from miles away, and that's exactly the success of the Angel of the North. There you are, whizzing up this bland piece of motorway, and suddenly there, stark against your skyline, is this great big angel. And it makes it, in a way, being in the open landscape, makes it easy to stand out. And also what it must do is articulate that landscape. It makes us look, again, not just at the object, but at the world around it. The Angel of the North makes you think about the sky, it makes you think about the land, it makes you think about we're passing from north to south, it makes a barrier. Stonehenge the same way, you know, that famously articulates the sun, and the sun's rays fall through it, and it evokes all these things. So that is a very, very important part of a landmark. And the other thing is to make it stand out somehow in your mind, which is why I was saying that these needles will become something if they begin to mean something to people. So you don't actually have to be huge to be a landmark. If you think about, the Little Mermaid outside Copenhagen, she's not a great big thing, but she stands out because she talks to everyone about their childhood memories of Hans Christian Andersen and the story. Or I don't know if you know, there's it's called the Mannequin Piss, and it's in Brussels.
I was just going to mention that to you. I was lucky enough to go to Brussels last year, and I saw him for the first time. I couldn't believe how tiny he was, in all senses of the word.
He's tiny, but he stands out because he makes people laugh. They think he's funny. And it is funny to see that little boy piddling into his fountain.
And also, the other thing is that quite clearly he's embraced by the locals, isn't he? Because when I was in Brussels and I saw that, they were having a bit of a festival at the time, and they dressed him up. They put a jacket on him and a little hat and all that kind of stuff. So quite clearly, he's part of the community, isn't he? It's difficult to see how you would do that with some
needles.
Sticks on a roof.
Football shirt on the Angel of the North one.
That's right. Yeah,
but, I don't know how they're going to. Maybe they could use the Sky Needles as a washing line. God knows what they're going to do.
No, I like it, Rachel. We should get you up here. I think you've got some creative thoughts. I think I've said this to you before, so forgive me if I'm repeating myself. But my rule of thumb, and I don't get art like you do. I mean, you're an art critic for the Times, but my rule of thumb with art, and this is where I struggle with people like Tracy Emin, is I look at art or I look at architecture or sculpture and I think if I could have done any better, then I'm not impressed. That's generally where I am with this. And I kind of think, anyone, as you say, has put a washing line up in the garden will think, well, I could do this kind of a landmark, whereas the Angel of the North or one of my... I don't know if you've ever seen the Sock Man in Loughborough. Have you ever seen that?
I haven't seen that. No. I've heard of it, actually.
Rachel, look him up. He celebrates the hosier industry in Loughborough, and it's just this big fat bloke in a pair of boxer shorts and a vest putting his socks on. And I just think, what a lovely tribute to the people of that area. But you look at it and you think, I couldn't have done better. Is that part of the problem with this, is that it's not sophisticated enough, it's not artistic enough, it's not difficult enough?
It doesn't feel... I don't know how difficult it is. Amazingly, it probably is quite difficult to make something like that can withstand, wind and rain and won't conduct lightning. But you're certainly right, there is something to do with, great new technology. I mean, look at the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
I mean, it may not look that impressive. Well, it is impressive to us now because we all know it. But at the time, that was an astonishing thing to build. The highest tower in the world, made out of the materials of the new industrial revolution. New technology played a part. Or there's something called the Bee of the Bang by Thomas Heatherwick. It was a sort of exploding star. And people looked at it and they said, this is actually physically impossible. How has Thomas Heatherwick designed this? And it wasn't, it's a sort of, it looks like a great big explosion, just as, the sort of, the Big Bang moment taking off.
Yeah.
And again, that was an extraordinary, it took on a life because it was an extraordinary achievement. I mean, Stonehenge was an extraordinary achievement. And it's not necessarily the greatest works of art that actually become our landmarks, because the Sock Man doesn't sound like a great work of art. It just sounds funny and amusing, and it captures our imagination because, I don't know, in London, probably the best, I should think the best piece of public sculpture we have in London, if I had to make a guess, would be something called the Burghers of Calais by Rodin. We've got a cast of it, and it's in the gardens by the Houses of Parliament, but most people probably don't even know it's there, and that's probably our single greatest artwork that we have as a public sculpture. We all know far better Nelson on his column because he's huge and big and he sticks up, and there he is, because, of course, size is important. Think of the Statue of Liberty or, I don't know, Christ the Redeemer in Rio. But again, those also take on, because another important thing is they must take on a really symbolic depth. Christ the Redeemer in Rio, there he is, arms out, in a very, very Roman Catholic country, this symbol of divine embracing of the people. It takes a huge symbolic role, as of course does the Statue of Liberty. I mean,
but you also look at those, and Statue of Liberty, Christ the Redeemer, and all those kind of things that you mentioned, Rachel. You look at those and you think, how did you do? How on earth did you do? That is amazing. Whereas this, you kind of think, oh look, they've stuck those. Let me just give you a text. I've just had a quick text here from somebody who says you can't really see the Sky Needles unless you actually go past the NIA, which is in a part of the city where not a lot of people will go past anyway. So what a waste of time and money. And again, it has to be somewhere where people will get a really good view, Rachel, doesn't it? It has to be somewhere where it's in your face, as it were.
I totally agree. I mean, unless people are going to use it as and for me, who's been lost in Birmingham many times, unless you're going to use it as a sort of trig point to get there.
Yeah.
And anyway, Birmingham has its landmark. It has the bull ring, doesn't it?
Well, I wanted to ask you about the bull ring because I don't know if you've ever been to the bull ring, and I'll forgive you if you haven't, but in the bull ring we have a bull. And it looks surprisingly similar to the bull that's in New York outside the stock exchange. In fact, it looks like it's made. We got it from the same Bulls R Us company, and I just wonder, is that okay? I mean, even if because the two that sprung to mind was there's a bull in Birmingham and there's a little concrete hippo in Walsall. You really must visit it if you ever get the chance.
I have been to the bull ring. I've never seen the concrete hippo.
If you come if you ever come to Birmingham, go up the motorway, get off at Junction 10, go into Walsall, and have a look at the little hippo. I don't know. We've got no idea why we've got a concrete hippo in Walsall, but we have. So
it doesn't sound like it has huge resonance with the people. But has it succeeded?
No, I wouldn't even like to guess why we've got a hippo. Many people better than I have pondered this one. I don't know, but that what I'm saying is with those are the kind of two that spring to mind. Have we got anything else in the West Midlands? Do you think? I mean, when you think of the West Midlands as somebody who lives and works maybe in the capital, what do you perceive are our landmarks? We're asking people this morning, but when I say West Midlands or Birmingham, what do you think as a landmark?
Well, I think of the bull ring, and that's about it.
Right. We need to do some work on this, don't we? Quite obviously, we need to pull our finger out and get sorted. When you think
you do, because for people who live, I live in the West Country, and that's got defined. I think the trouble is, I used to live up near you because my parents lived in Worcestershire, and what I really got the sense of is the Midlands are treated by the rest of England as a place to pass through. They're almost a sort of they're a junction point. It's no accident that you had a sort of spaghetti junction as your landmark.
Yeah. Spaghetti Junction. Yeah, I forgot about that. That's a good one.
Birmingham has now changed into this completely. When I go to Birmingham now, from when I was a child, I'm amazed at the beauty of your town centre. It's fantastic what you've done there. Yes, you do need a great big landmark there. You need people to say, actually, hang on, you stupid Southerners, stop. The Midlands is somewhere.
And what about, because I'm sensing when you're talking about the bull ring, do you mean Selfridges? Do you mean the Pimperley building? Is that what kind of attracts you now? Is it architecture more than landmarks, do you think?
I think that particular piece of architecture is pretty attractive. I mean, it's like one of those spangly handbags that you dance around on the disco. You can't avoid it, can you?
I always think it's like the you remember the pink and blue ones in Licorice All Sorts?
Yes.
I always think it's more like that than anything else. So, and I used to love those, so it's all right by me, I suppose, is what I'm saying there.
Sweet with you.
So if we wanted to say, okay, let's put the West Midlands on the map. I mean, what I'm getting is we've got to do something that's really outstanding. It's probably got to be near maybe the motorway. We've got a big motorway network, and you look at some of the iconic things. The other one, of course, is the Fort Dunlop building, which has now been turned into a hotel chain, I think, or something like that, which used to be part of, the Fort Dunlop thing that was right on the M6 as well.
Yeah,
Again, we do well with architecture. Maybe we just need to stick something up near the motorway and see what people think. That'd be a start, wouldn't it?
The trouble is you can't do it too near busy motorways. If I remember rightly, motorways around Birmingham, you're endlessly, desperately trying to find your way. And if I'm starting to look at your great big landmark, that is going to lead to a pile-up, isn't it?
That's true, yeah. Maybe not a good idea.
So I think you do it on an emptier part. You do it on the way into Birmingham, or this is where Birmingham starts. This is where our Midlands starts. And you do something linked to something quintessentially Midland. You do it something linked to your industries.
All right. We're going to throw it out there for people. Rachel, it's always a pleasure. Thanks. What are you looking at the moment in the Times, by the way? What are you up to critique-wise? What are you looking at?
Well, we've just come to a rather quiet time because all the big autumn shows are open, but the one to go and see, if you have time, is the Rembrandt in the National Gallery. Late Rembrandt, absolutely amazing.
Fantastic. I always enjoy your passion as well, because you make it kind of accessible, and I always think there's more of that to get people into art. There's nothing worse than people going, oh, art's not for me. Rachel, thanks for joining us. Rachel Campbell-Johnson, who's the chief art critic for The Times, giving us an idea. It's interesting to see her perspective, isn't it, of the West Midlands, what she sees. What are our landmarks? And I just thought of a few there. I mean, she mentioned spaghetti. Rachel said spaghetti. The Dunlop building. Do we make enough of that on the M6 as you used to be the stores, didn't it, for Dunlop when it was owned by them? But it's now, is it a travel lodge or something like that? Which I always think is a little bit. And sorry, travel lodge, no disrespect to you guys, but I always kind of think as a landmark. Paris has the Eiffel Tower, of course, and New York has many buildings, and of course London has Marble Arch and many others. What have you got? Oh, we've got a travel lodge. It's just on M6, and you do kind of think, can we do a bit better than that one? Let us know, what are our landmarks? The two that immediately sprung to mind, and I was thinking more of artworks than architecture, but architecture works for me as well. That's a landmark, isn't it? In the same way. The Bull in Birmingham, if anybody knows, by the way, why there is a hippo in Walsall, as a kid who was born at the Manor Hospital, and it seemed, why has it shrunk? It was so much bigger when I remember it before. But if anybody knows why you have a hippo in Walsall, and have done for probably heading towards 50 years, because I remember it as a kid. So it's been there a while. Why is the big question? People of Walsall listening to the show this morning. Spaghetti Junction is a landmark, whether we like it or not. And it's not very good, is it? Because you can't actually see. Maybe we should make more of that. Big signs up saying, hey, welcome to Spaghetti Junction. Don't get lost. In the same way that they would if you went somewhere else around the world. And the Dunlop building on the M6, just some of our landmarks. What am I missing off? What are the big ones? If you had to show somebody round and they said, oh, come on, let's go and see the landmarks of Birmingham, or the landmarks of Wolverhampton, or the landmarks of the wider West Midlands, where would you take them?
The voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
BBC WM
95.6.
Let's get some thoughts from Rob, who joins us on the show. Morning, Rob.
Morning, Shane.
Thanks for being with us this morning. What do you think landmarks? Have you seen these Sky Needles, first of all? Have you seen those?
I haven't, no. I haven't.
You're not missing a lot. You're not. They're on our Facebook page if you get time later, and I've also tweeted them as well if you want to see them. And I think if you just put Sky Needles Birmingham into your favourite search engine, you'll find them as well. But they're essentially just three sticks on top of the roof of the NIA. What are your thoughts on landmarks then, Rob? What do you reckon?
Well, we've lost quite a few, haven't we, really, due to whatever reason, factories closing. Like, there's a good one, the HP Source, Fort Dunlop, for a start.
Yeah, although the Dunlop building is still there, isn't it? I'm not sure how I feel. My dad worked for Dunlop for 36 years, I think, something like that. And I've been round there, and I've been in the building when it belonged to Dunlop and all the rest of it. And I'm not sure how I feel about what it is now and what would have been a great use for it. But we've still got it, haven't we? We haven't lost that. But HP Source, what's happened with that one now? Have they flattened that? I don't know what the latest is with that one.
Yeah, it's gone, and there was a campaign by WN to try and save the sign, which they did.
Of course there was, yeah. To say
the sign is now, I don't know.
The sign that you could see from the expressway, couldn't you? Yeah.
Anyway, in the city, you've got the BT Tower.
They've ruined that for me.
You've got the Radisson.
Can I just tell you something about the BT Tower?
Right.
In the new technology is. I used to bet when I was a kid in Great Bar, to the houses across the street. Between them, I could see the BT Tower from my window, and it used to look like the top half of the UK. It looked like Scotland, with all the bits sticking out and all the rest of it. Yeah. But because of new technology, it's just a cylinder on the top now, isn't it? They've ruined the shape of it. It doesn't look. They've took the ears off the BT Tower. They've ruined it for me. Anyway, sorry, go on. Right. BT Tower. What else?
You've got the Radisson Hotel, all that glass frontage building.
I like that. Do you like that?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
More modern day architecture, I suppose you could class the library as a landmark. And if you've been to Longbridge, about Bourneville College, that gets everybody talking.
Yeah. What do you think of the library, by the way? Because
Christmas cake.
Is that good? You like it?
Well, I mean, I went round it. Yeah, you can see it's not everybody's taste, but unfortunately, that's what we've got to put up with today, isn't it? Modern architecture.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if you look at the old building, I thought the old building was a horror, which is now listed, isn't it? The old library was even. I'd rather have the new one than the old one, wouldn't you?
Yes, I think I would. But when you walk in the new one, you don't seem to see many books, do you?
No. Have you still got? And I can't remember. I went to see a show at the NIA recently, and I can't remember whether it was there or not. Is the Jelly Mould still there in Centenary Square?
I think it is. is, yeah.
Forward, isn't it? It was called Forward. Was a didn't somebody set fire to it or something? It was made of.
Forward was the three great industrialists, wasn't it?
Ah, no, I'm getting confused. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's a different one, isn't it? What was the jelly mould called? What was that?
I don't know. It was just like a clan, wasn't it?
No, it was a group of. Am I getting confused? What statues have they got in Centenary Square? Somebody will tell us this morning.
Anyway,
yes.
If you travel further afield, you've got the big needle on the top of the Agni Hill going towards Kidderminster.
Yeah, that's another. Yeah.
Massive obelisk, and if you take them further afield on the M5, you've got the Malvern Hills.
I'm not sure about that. Are they? I suppose they are a landmark, aren't they? Hills.
They are, yeah.
Yeah, I suppose so. I
mean, you've got the castle on the top of on the Licky Hills.
Yeah. Would you like to see more big architecture as a landmark, or big statues, or big works of art? Does that work for you, Rob, or not?
Yeah, well, I'm one of these that like old architecture, because once it, if you've got it, you've got it, but once it's gone, it's gone. Yeah. I think we bow down to the power of the bulldozer too much in this city.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The people that built these buildings all them years ago, they would cry, I think, because some of these people worked on their buildings for a long time.
All right.
You couldn't get people to do the sculpting of the bricks and that, all done by hand, no machinery.
No.
And I think we knock it down too quickly in this city, rather than just stopping back and thinking.
I think that's the same for a lot of places. I think you're absolutely right. I think there is a pressure to do that. I don't know why. I don't know where it comes from. Rob, great call. Thanks for that. Rob in Northfield listing some of the things that he thinks are landmarks of the West Midlands. We've not got like kind of big statues and stuff like that. Tony in Hensford, coming to you in a second. Let's get an update on what's happening travel-wise, though. Matthew Sparks is here with the details. How are we looking, Matthew?
Well, a very wet morning across the West Midlands, so please do take care if you're out and about. Not having any huge impact to the motorway flow, as far as I can see, but some trouble certainly in Cannock this morning. The Avon Road, part of the 4601, closed with the accident at the Mill Street junction with the A34. Latest update from Staffordshire Police is recovery is en route, but I dare say it's easily another half an hour or so before the road fully reopens. Still around the direction of Aston in the north side of Birmingham, Aston Bridge closed with that work just off from Dartmouth Circus. And we've also got some roadworks to watch out for around the A41 direction as well. The Black Country New Road through Great Bridge has a lane closure just by the navigation roundabout. Two sets of works to watch out for on the A456 to the west side of Birmingham. Firstly, through the Hagley direction, there's temporary lights by the Stourbridge Road, and of course still the works around Bearwood just by the Galton Road turn to watch out for. If you can update us, call BBC WM 95.6 Travel 08453 0022 88.
The voice of Birmingham in the Black Country.
BBC WM
95.6.
What's this about on Twitter? Simon's producing the show today. Si, I don't know if have you seen on Twitter? You've probably not seen it in my Twitter feed. Keith has sent me a note this morning on Twitter. He said, your listener just said about the BT Tower. My idea is for Brum's Big Pen. The hashtag. Have a look at the hashtag. You on Twitter, right? Have a look at the hashtag. Brum's Big Pen, which is a giant golden pen nib stuck on top of the BT Tower. Said Keith, can we get him on? We'll see if we can get. Keith, if you're listening, give me a call 03453 009956 because I'm. They've ruined the BT Tower for me. What on earth is that all about? They've just absolutely ruined the thing. But Keith has got an idea to make it better. Maybe he thinks the same as I do. That'd be interesting. We'll have a chat with him, talking landmarks on the show. It's Shane O'Connor sitting in for Iain Lee, by the way, between now and midday. Thanks for your company. And if you're waiting to talk to us, or we haven't called you back yet, it's a busy old show this morning. And if I haven't read your text out, don't be offended. We will get through them between now and midday. 81333 if you want to be part of the show and have your say. Start your message WM on the text, and 03453 009956 is my number. And as I said, Twitter as well. Shane on air, if you want to send me a tweet, you can do. Always a patient man, that Tony in Ensford. Morning, Tony.
Hello. Morning, Shane.
Thanks for hanging about, mate. Sorry, I kept seeing you there and thinking he's going to get fed up of me in a minute if I don't hurry up, so I'm here now anyway. What are your thoughts today? Landmarks you're talking, aren't you, I think?
The big silver miner at the beginning of Brownhills High Street is about 80 foot tall. You got a pick in one hand and a lamp in the other.
Hold on. Because I haven't been to Brownhills since I don't know when, and I used to go there. I used to work. Do you know the Middle Oak?
No.
You know the Royal Oak. What was the? It's the Shire Oak at the top of the lights.
It's the other end.
Yeah, you know as you come down into Brownhills, you know the Shire Oak at the top.
Yeah.
You know you got the next one down. Is the Royal Oak still there?
I think so. Yeah.
I used to work there. The Silver Miner. Hang on, Brownhills.
He's right at the end of the High Street.
He's at the other end, is he? Hang on.
Yeah, on the way to Cannock.
Oh, why does everything you look up bring you to Wikipedia when you don't want to look at that particular... That's just telling me all about Brownhills. Come on, I want to... there... Oh, my life! How long's that been there?
Oh, quite a few years.
That is awesome. That is fantastic. How did that come about?
I haven't got a clue.
Why don't I know about that? Where have I been? That is... He's 46 foot tall, is he?
Oh, it looks more than that.
That's what it says in Wikipedia. It said he's 14 metres. He's stainless steel sculpture of a coal miner. He's been there since May 2006 on the roundabout at the edge of the High Street. I'm going home that way today. I am now on the A4124 on Pelsall Road and High Street, the A452 where they cross. Oh, I know the roundabout, the bottom end of the bottom end of Brownhills High Street, isn't it?
There's a old railway underneath.
It's as if you're going to your place, isn't it? As if you're going out towards Hensford.
Yeah.
He's on that. Oh man, I can't believe it. I can't believe how they. I don't even know about that. Is amazing. Since 2006, that's been there. Are people used to it now, or do they?
Somebody managed to put a Christmas hat on him last year.
I like that idea. You know, when they do. I was talking about that mannequin piss that's in Brussels, and they put every year they dress him up like the mayor. They put a little jacket on him, and a little sash and everything, and all that sort of stuff. And there he is weeing into the fountain. But I love it when they do that. So they got a Christmas hat on him last. That must have been a big Christmas hat and a brave person to go 46 foot up in the air.
Yeah.
It wasn't you, was it, Tony?
No.
I love it, mate. Are you ex-miner or not?
No, I'm your ex-FedEx delivery man.
Oh, yeah?
When you lived in Yoxall.
You used to deliver to me?
Yeah. Well,
do you know, my service has gone right downhill since you... I remember, yeah. Boy, you've done some service, haven't you? You've done some work, mate. Are you still with them?
No, I'm a carer now.
Oh, well, that's a change of career, isn't it?
Yeah.
Was it because I moved house that you didn't see the point of doing the job anymore? Was that what it was?
No.
You could have said yes.
But I won't tell everybody where that was.
No, well, you can, because I don't live there anymore.
Oh, you moved again?
Yeah, I don't live there now. Yeah, I've gone. Yeah, you have to keep on the move, Tony, otherwise people keep finding you. Have a good one, mate.
Okay.
Nice to talk to you. Nice job on those deliveries as well. He did. If ever I had anything off Amazon, Tony was there like a shot on the doorbell. Pete's in Albury. Hi, Pete.
Hello.
Landmarks.
The forward statue, what you was talking about,
yes,
made of fiberglass. It got burned down.
I thought it did. Didn't they replace it? Did they don't bother?
They also renovated the three industrialists, and the council wanted to put it down to the East End, but the citizens of Birmingham wanted it in place of where the forward stood.
What's the East End? That's Digbeth, isn't it? Is that the posh name for Digbeth, isn't it?
Millennium Point.
Oh no, yeah.
But citizens of Birmingham wanted the industrialists to come back to Broad Street, and they wanted it in place where the forward was.
Right.
But the council said, no, you can't have it there because there's a tunnel under there, and it's too heavy. So that they put it back in its original site on the other side of Broad Street.
Right.
But what have they built on that side? The library.
Yeah.
How can the statue be too heavy and they've built the library now?
But the building isn't. Maybe the tunnel runs the other way. Perhaps it runs along Broad Street, does it, do you think? Or
I don't know.
What did you think about... I'm just looking up Forward, actually, on the internet. It was June 1991. It was unveiled. And I loved it, actually. I'll be honest with you. I thought it was great. I thought it was a real... It's
supposed to be represent the citizens and a diverse citizens of Birmingham.
Yeah. No one-parent families in there, unfortunately, was there? Which was seems to be what we're at now.
I think that's a stupid site.
Yeah.
That was covered in a shroud a couple of days ago.
Was it what since the unveiling?
Yeah.
It's had a reveiling.
Yeah.
That's a new one on me. We'll have the unveiling on a Wednesday and we'll have the reveiling on the following Saturday.
Somebody covered it up again.
Oh man! Did you like Forward? Did you think it was a good? Were you proud of it? Were you proud?
Not proud of it, but yeah, it wasn't a very good monument or statue, whatever you want to call it. It's made of fiberglass.
Yeah, that was. I mean, that must have been the thing. Was it because of the fact that there was a tunnel under there that they couldn't put something heavy on there? But I don't know why they didn't say to the artist, who was, hang on, it's in here, I think, is Raymond Mason. He's dead now, no longer with us.
Yeah.
One of Birmingham's most famous artists, it says on Birmingham City Council's website. Surprisingly, this was the first home commission for an artist that worked mainly in Canada, the US and France. So his sculptures you will find all around the world, and he hasn't got one in the place he was born in because we burnt it down. You do kind of. It's a bit sad, isn't it, really, when you say it out loud as a sentence. But I don't know why they didn't say to his estate, well, can we commission a stone version of that particular fiberglass one? I don't, and stick it somewhere where it will take that. I don't understand it. I thought it was representative. I thought it was all right, actually. I don't know.
But I also wanted to talk about the super councils.
Yeah.
They tried this in the West Midlands about 40 years ago, called it the Metropolitan Council. And it didn't work. They had to disband it. The headquarters was in the old Halfords buildings.
That's right.
Opposite the old fire station.
It wasn't it. There was the West Midlands County Council, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And as you say,
well, it was the West Midlands Metropolitan. Metropolitan was in the word.
Was it?
Yeah, yeah.
But it was so good they had to disband it, didn't they?
Well, it's too much bureaucracy.
Yeah.
Costs and everything. It's like a three-tier government, and everything takes time.
Well, and then if you stick Europe in on top of that as well, you've got them on, and then if you stick the Westminster in, you keep going. By the time you finish, we'll have to pay for all of them, Pete. There'll only be me and you that isn't on some kind of council the way things are going. Pete, good to talk to you, mate.
There was also talking about rebranding.
Yeah.
We had 5 county council transport systems, Birmingham City Transport and Wolverhampton, whatever. They made it into West Midlands Travel, and they paid £1 million to rebrand, and they come up with Travel West Midlands.
That's right. They just changed the words round and got rid of the good logo that we had. Pete, I love it. Pete in Albury, thank you. Having a right old bite at the cherry there with some of the topics we're talking about. If you want to have your say, don't forget you can be with us. 03453 009956, my number 81333. On the text, start your message, WM. We just go to another part of Albury, because Keith's there in Albury this morning. Hello, Keith.
Good morning, Shane.
Ah, are you Keith the Tweet?
I am Keith the Tweet, yes. I'm one true out and blue.
Can I just mention, actually, just before we chat, actually, no, we'll do it after, because we ain't got time. I'm just looking at the time.
No, I'll wait till after the news if you want, Shane.
Can you hang on?
Yeah, I'll hang on, yeah.
I'll do you straight out the news. I'll get some text done, and we'll go, is that all right? Can we do? Yes, I'm getting the thumbs up from my producer. Hang on there, Keith, because Keith is the tweet that he sent us a little while ago. He sent me a tweet on Shane on Air on Twitter. Just to tell me about his thoughts about what we can do with the BT Tower. So I'll have a good old chat with him. I didn't want to hang on about. On the text this morning, 81333, start your message, WM. The Miner in Brown Hills is a huge... It is awesome. I will be... In fact, if not today, very soon, I'm going there. Because how I missed a 46-foot-high silver miner in Brown Hills and not get the chance to go and have a look at it. I don't know. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, incredible. Ken says Victoria Law Courts is another amazing building, and Julia says, I like the Iron Man. I like the Iron Man, but has that caught on? Has that captured the imagination? Do we make enough of the floozy and the jacuzzi? When we're talking about some of the great landmarks around the area. Chris has sent me... we're not allowed competitions anymore because we can't be trusted with them at the BBC. But if I had a competition for my favourite text of the show, and you're going to have to go a long way. You can beat it in the next hour if you send me a text, 81333, start your message, WM. But I don't think you're going to beat my favourite text of the show so far, which comes from Chris in Stourbridge. And earlier on, I was asking the question, why has Walsall got a hippo? And he says, hi, Shane, the hippo in Walsall is due to that great game of the 70s, Hungry Hippos. It's a tribute to the... Chris, You're having me on, aren't you? You're having a laugh there, I can tell. Also, another text saying, Shane, what about the silver miner in Brown Hills? Yeah, another one. That's from Tony in Walsall, WS12. He's texting from. Keep them coming. Some great stuff about the Sky Needles, about the Super Council, about if we make enough of our landmarks that we have around the area. We've got loads to talk about. Oh, and the other thing as well, which some of you have been texting me about this morning, is about 8th of November. And it's the day that Birmingham has their Christmas parade. Are they getting a bit overexcited, do you think? Is this the time that your attention turns to Christmas? Is that too early? Santa's there, so it's like legit and official and everything. So, I mean, if he's signed up for it, you kind of think, well, maybe it is okay. But the 8th of November, when we haven't even burnt all our bonfires yet, should we be turning our attention to Christmas? Let me know your thoughts. 03453 00 9956, my number.
The West Midlands with the latest news, sport, weather and travel updates. P. Morgan at breakfast, back Monday morning from 6.
The 2014 BBC Local Radio Station of the Year. BBC WM 95.6.
Give me a call. We've only got an hour of the show left between now and 12. Time to catch up with the latest news at exactly 11 o'clock. Here with the details is Nicole Pullman.
President Obama is sending an extra 1,500 military personnel to Iraq. The troops will have a non-combat role, providing training and assistance to Iraqi and Kurdish forces fighting ISIS militants. The Pentagon spokesman, Rear Admiral John Kirby, said previous efforts to train local forces had been undermined by the previous Iraqi government.
Yeah, we did spend a lot of money and effort training the Iraqi army. And when we left in 2011, we left them capable and competent to the threat that they faced. That opportunity they were given, the skills that they were provided, the leadership that they had were squandered by the Maliki government over the last three and a half years.
Thousands of war widows, including those whose partners died in the Falklands, Iraq and Afghanistan, are to be allowed to remarry without losing their military pensions. The government acted following a campaign by armed forces charities. They described the present pension arrangements as shameful. The Minister for Veterans is Anna Soubry.
It was never about the money. It was about doing the right thing. And the way that we can achieve the right thing is by looking at the covenant, which says you shouldn't suffer a disadvantage because of your usually husband, because we're talking about largely about a group of women. So they shouldn't suffer a disadvantage. That's what the covenant says. This is how we do it, by applying the covenant. So we're delivering at last on the covenant. And that's what we've got to do, because it's not just words.
Police called to investigate a break-in in Dudley have uncovered a large-scale cannabis factory. There were reports that a lock-up on the Old Forge industrial estate had been burgled. Instead, officers discovered 4,000 cannabis plants inside. They're still there removing the plants, and they're trying to establish who the lock-up belongs to. Some of the poppy installation that's drawn huge crowds to the Tower of London is to remain on display for the rest of the month. The artwork is made up of 888,246 poppies, one for each British colonial or volunteer Irish serviceman who died during the First World War. All but 2 features will be dismantled on Wednesday. The country's largest firework display put on by a council is taking place in Dudley later. There are going to be dozens of buses to help thousands of people get to Himley Hall, ready for the annual bonfire. Sally Newhall's the estate manager and has been organising it for more than 30 years.
Things have changed drastically over the years. Health and safety has had a marked improvement. This bonfire over the last few years has grown and grown and grown. We're looking at a crowd of 20 to 25,000 people on the night.
A wet and windy day, but the rain should gradually clear later in the afternoon, with a top temperature of 12 Celsius, 54 Fahrenheit. Nice for the fireworks tonight, largely dry and clear, with lows of 11 Celsius, 52 Fahrenheit. BBC WM 95.6 News. There's more online at bbc.co.uk/WM.
You're not very caring and sharing, are you, Nicole, around these parts? We just had the last of the Quality Street, and it was, I'm not very good, I don't know what they are. Molly seems, I should phone Molly Green, she knows what all those, she doesn't even have to look at the menu or anything. And I thought, well, it's a green one, green's quite, and so I bit into it, it was a toffee one. I thought, well, I don't want that. So I kind of wrapped it up nicely again, and asked Bernie, who's working on the show, if she wanted it. She's in her face.
Well, do you know, before I came in here to read the news, I read an email and it said, about Station of the Year. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it said chocolates on the news desk.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm on the news desk.
Can you see him?
No. So are these the chocolates that should be up here?
No, these are 1 Extra chocolates, these are.
Oh.
Basically, 1 Extra we're using some of our studios last couple of days. And to say sorry for the inconvenience, they bought a box of Quality Street and a box of roses.
Well, whoever bought the chocolates for the news desk, they lasted precisely 15 and a half minutes.
Station of the Year runs on chocolates, mate.
Shane O'Connor.
On BBC WM.
95.6. The voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
That's what that... Don't come down here, Nicole. I don't want you to see down here, because you're not having any of our chocolates, if that's what you're thinking. Over the all theirs up theirs. I thought they'd be sharing, though. I think they'd be more sharing. It's not... I haven't even sucked the chocolate off or anything. It was just a toffee one, and a bit in, found it was a toffee. It's just got a little bite mark. In fact, my dentist might find it quite useful to identify me at some later stage. Shane O'Connor sitting in for Iain Lee between now and 12. So we've only got about 56 minutes to talk to you. So if you're burning up with desire to talk to me this morning, then give me a call. 03453 009956 is my number. 81333 on the text starting message WM. Let me tell you some of the stuff we're talking about. Super councils, we're still threading through on that one, and you're letting us know, because I just wanted to hear from real people. I've heard from the politicians, I've heard from the MPs, I've heard from the local councillors, I've heard from business, I've heard from everybody and his dog, apart from real people. So we've had some real people telling us what they think about super councils on the show this morning. Very good it was as well. You missed that one. Is it too early to start a Christmas parade on the 8th of November? You've still got time to talk about that one as well, because that's what's happening in Birmingham today. They're starting their Christmas parade. They're switching on their Christmas lights as well, so we'll throw that one into the mix. Landmarks. The Sky Needles, as they're being called. They're just basically 3 sticks that light up. They're on top of the NIA. Are they good enough to be deserving of the title of a landmark? And we've been talking about... So, in fact, you've educated me this morning, because I didn't know there was a giant 46-foot-high miner at the bottom of Brownhills High Street on the way out to Hensford. That's incredible. We're not making enough of these things. We've talked about the jelly mould, the Forward statue. That went, never came back. We set that one on fire. Aren't we clever? So what about our landmarks? What would be the landmarks? If anybody can tell me why there's a hippo in Walsall, nobody knows. Doesn't that bother you? When you wake up every day in Walsall, I mean, I know there are other issues that you need to be concerned about as well, but when you wake up every morning in Walsall, I never slept a wink when I was there. And we'll also, coming up on the show, we'll be asking about whether you would eat reindeer or not. It kind of fits in with the too early for Christmas. Let's have a reindeer burger. Sounds a bit weird to me, but we'll talk about that one coming up on the show as well. As always, 03453 009956, my number, 81333 on the text your message WM. Or you can tweet me. My Twitter is Shane on Air, SHANE. ONAIR, Shane on Air. I know it's not difficult to find because Keith found me and I said, get Keith on the show. I want to talk to him more about what he sent me, and he's been with us waiting patiently. Hi, Keith.
Hi, Shane. All right,
yeah,
mate?
Good, thanks. Now, you sent me a tweet this morning, said your listener has just said about the BT Tower, and I said they've ruined the BT Tower because they've taken what I used to know as a kid as the ears off it. It used to have ears on it, didn't it, Keith?
It did.
You know what I mean when I say that. And now modern technology means it's just like basically a concrete cylinder on top of this tower, and quite frankly, I think it looks a bit rubbish. You think the same, don't you, Keith?
I don't. Well, I do and I don't, because it looks like a big pen sticking up out the floor, doesn't it? So why don't they stick a big golden pen nib on the top to celebrate Birmingham's pen makers who spread literacy around the world from billions and billions of pressed pen nibs that they made in the jewellery quarter years ago?
Yeah.
And create Birmingham's big pen, Shane.
I think this is a work of genius. So instead, what you do, instead of saying, oh, our monuments aren't very good and all the rest of it, and we haven't got many landmarks, is that where you've got an opportunity, you turn one into a greater landmark than it is already.
It's recycling, Shane. Recycling. I'm a Green Party member, so, that's why I'm about recycling and all that. I think they should turn the old Central Library into Made in Birmingham Museum and all.
Yeah, what are they doing with that, by the way, now?
It's been knocked down. It's not listed. You said it was listed.
I thought it was listed.
They're knocking it down, mate.
I thought it was listed. You're kidding me. They're not going to knock that
No,
down,
they
are
are. They're going to build a blooming Great Paradise Forum development on top of it.
But how
Offices
can...
and all that.
How
We need
can...
more offices.
How can the... this is what I don't get. How can you... I thought it was listed because it's an example of brutalism, isn't it, the Birmingham?
Absolutely. The inverted ziggurat.
Is that what it's called?
It is.
You filthy swine. What I don't understand, what's that block of flats in London that's listed? You know, the Emo Goldfinger one. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know. I'm not come across that.
Hang on. The Trellick Tower.
Yes.
Do you know Trellick Tower? It's got a separate lift shaft, and it's horrible. It's the most disgusting block of flats you'll ever see. It was designed by a designer called Emo Goldfinger. Seriously, before James Bond. No, he's Hungarian. Yeah, apparently Goldfinger is a Hungarian surname. Apparently, and he built this Trellick Tower, and it's horrible. But that's listed. In fact, a lot of his work is listed for some reason because he was a brutalist architect from Budapest.
Well, Joe Hollyoak from the Birmingham Society is trying to save the Central Library. Just turn it into use all the old bits and bobs they got down at the museum's collection centre and turn it into a made in Birmingham museum, manufacturing Birmingham. Celebrate it.
But isn't that what the think tank's supposed to be?
The think tank's a bit of a kiddies thing, though, isn't it? Don't you think? It's not like the Old Science Museum in Norwell Street. Go back to the BT Tower, you know.
Now you're
it's talking.
Not like that, you're talking. So what you're saying is, then you take all the bits off the top. Well, you could probably leave them on.
You can't take the bits off the top because obviously they're telecommunications bits and bobs, isn't they?
I don't know if they need them.
You just put a big golden pen nib on the top. And
I like it.
I've tweeted you a photograph of it actually because Birmingham Civic Society, of which I'm a member, is celebrating its centenary in 2018.
Yeah.
And they've got a big art project which they're hoping to raise £1 million in Birmingham to have an iconic piece of art which will shout Birmingham at the world.
Can you get a photo that's any smaller? I can't actually see that. It's so tiny. Have you got a bigger version of that?
Well, it was in the Birmingham Post a while back because Enda Mullen picked it up while I was at a Birmingham Civic Society event.
Right.
And I mentioned this big pen for Birmingham.
What reaction did you get?
And he picked it up and wrote a story about
That's
it and
amazing.
put a photograph mock-up on the Birmingham Post.
I love it. A big pen nib on top of the BT Tower.
Golden pen nib.
A golden, sorry.
Birmingham's Big Pen rather than Big Ben.
The Big Pen? That is genius.
Birmingham's Big Pen rather than Big Ben. That's what the phrase should be.
I want you to be marketing the whole of the West Midlands. You're a genius.
My idea, Shane, is to rename Birmingham International Airport Shakespeare International Airport. Why don't they do that? That would get us noticed, wouldn't it?
Well, where's Robin Hood? He's at...
Doncaster.
Is Doncaster? Robin Hood in Doncaster?
30 years ago. What the blooming next... moving to Doncaster?
Doncaster, I know he likes to travel. That's ridiculous. Keith, I'm glad we got to talk to you. Thanks for hanging on.
OK, all the best, Shane. Love the show, mate.
Thanks, mate. Nice to have you with us. Keith in Albury there. The golden pen nib on top of the BT Tower. And instead of Big Ben, we'd have the Big Pen.
Have your say.
Across the West Midlands, call
03453 00
9956.
BBC WM
95.6.
Keep your thoughts coming about all the stuff we talked about so far, and I want to throw one final subject, possibly. We might squeeze another one in before we finish, but one final subject, possibly, in the last 45 minutes of the show. Might be an emotive one, this one, I don't know. When you think of festive food, obviously turkey, of course, mince pies, Christmas pudding, all figure in there, don't they? But what about reindeer? What about this Christmas, instead of settling down to a turkey, you settle down to a reindeer? And roast spuds and turkey and trimmings and, I don't know, and stuffing and all the rest of it. It's Lidl again. I can't believe it. Lidl make more headlines than anyone else, but they are stocking the shelves in the coming weeks with what they're calling their deluxe festive food range, and part of that will be reindeer. Jill Green is the owner of Greenland Reindeer Ranch in Warwickshire and joins us on the show. Hi, Jill.
Morning, Shane.
What do you think? You don't breed and farm reindeer for meat, do you?
Oh no. We've had some baby reindeers born on the ranch, but ours are all great big pets. No, we couldn't possibly consider getting the frying pan out for a reindeer steak.
Oh, what do you think of it as an idea? Then are you worried about this, that people will get a taste for reindeer?
Well, no, not in England. I think maybe Lidl are importing the reindeer meat from Norway and Finnmark, and that's like a big area for wild reindeer. So And that's really what they're bred for in that region, because they can't keep sheep and cattle like we do, because
Right.
it's too cold.
Have you ever tasted one?
Well, no, I've not, but surprisingly, I've got some reindeer leg steaks from Lidl in my freezer at the minute.
Oh, how could you?
Well, I thought I would just try it to see.
Did you smuggle them in past all of your ones that you're looking after and the little baby reindeer? They go, what have you got, Mummy? What have you got for dinner? And they're all looking at you with their big eyes, and you, oh, nothing, it's all right, I'll shove it in the freezer. Were you doing that when you brought them home?
No, we just sort of snuck it in the little carrier bags and snuck it in the freezer.
Oh.
Because everyone says, because we have reindeers, have we ever tasted it? And to be quite honest, I never have. But I think it might be on the menu sometime.
Oh, man, you have to let me know how you get on. Will you feel a bit funny, though, because of the fact that you do, you care for them, you provide all this husbandry for reindeer, and there you are tucking into reindeer and chips? Don't you feel? Would you feel weird?
Well, no, because when you've got them on the plate, and you don't really associate, nobody associates much really the animal on the plate when they're actually eating it. When it's all arranged nicely, it'll go down a treat.
Oh, I don't know. If somebody came to you now and said, "All right, Jill, I know what you do, but I want you to up the production. I want you to keep more reindeer because we want to source some food locally." Would you do that or not?
No chance. No chance. When they're bred at home and you live with them and work with them every day,
yeah,
and they're sort of part of your family, it's like, no, you couldn't eat your family, could you?
That's why farmers, they tell me, that's why farmers don't give names to their cattle. Because once you name them, once you've anthropomorphised them, or whatever they call it, you're finished then, aren't you? Jill, thanks for joining us. Jill Green there, who's from the Reindeer Ranch, joining us on the show. Going to tuck into some reindeer burgers. Would you? Here's the question. Even if you're not going to buy them and you're out with the kids and you're at the supermarket and the kids are going, what's on the shelves, Mummy? What's that? And like Rudolph burgers, would you? I mean, are the supermarkets doing you any favours by putting these things on the shelves? Would you be tempted to give it? I mean, personally, I'm not a fan of turkey. We very rarely have a turkey at Christmas now because I'm not that bothered. And she's not that bothered, and we kind of think, well, what are we doing? We're doing this just to keep the turkey industry going, so we don't really genuinely bother with turkey. I'm not sure I'd switch to reindeer, though. What about you? 81333 on the text. Start your message, WM. Let's get up to date with the travel this morning then. And Matthew's got the details.
Weather situation across the West Midlands, not really at its best. Please take care if you're out and about. Sunny lights might be a wise option today. Through Cannock, Avon Road, the 4601, still closed with an accident at the A34 at Mill Street. Believe it's in its final stages, but for the time being, the Avon Road and Mill Street well worth avoiding in the interim. Still works around Great Bridge for the A41. The Black Country New Road has a lane closure at the Navigation roundabout, and of course those works through Aston as well for the Aston Bridge, still closed just off from Dartmouth Circus. And watch out for the road work still taking place. The Harborne Road through Edgbaston has the gas main work by Highfield Road, and we've still got some cones also on the 456, not too far, of course, from the Amber Tavern. If you can update us, call BBC WM 95.6 Travel 08453 0022 88.
Today, it's Derby versus Wolves from midday.
Deflection takes it to Henry. Oh yes, 1-1 James Henry.
Followed by West Ham versus Villa from 3.
Cross coming in. It's poked onwards. Andy Byman.
This Sunday from 1:30, hear live FM commentary of West Brom versus Newcastle from the Hawthorns.
The Albion travelling fans are boinging away on the far side.
The station for commentary this season.
BBC WM
95.6.
Yeah, that's coming up after this programme from midday today. The sports team take over. And the two featured games, of course, West Ham, Villa away to West Ham. That's our second featured commentary today. Before that, you've got Wolves away at Derby. What's their ground called now? Is the iPower Stadium or something like that, I think. And then Network Gold from 6 with John Platt from 6 through until 8. BBC introducing from 8 through until 10. That's your daytime lineup here on BBC WM. I just want to mention, I've just had a note here from my old mate Mike. Oh, Mike, it has been years and years and years from the Robin 2 at Bilston. What a great venue. I've interviewed many a fab act down at the Robin too. And he says, Shane, I hope you're well. He said, it's been a long time since we speak. It has been too long, Mike. I'll have to come over and see what you got on there. He does tell me that the Robin 2 tonight have got from Switzerland an all-girl tribute to AC/DC. Back and Black, they're called. That's interesting, isn't it? All girl. You don't see that very often. It's like a tribute band, but with a twist, as it were. First time in the West Midlands. If you want to see them all the way from Switzerland, they're playing at the Robin 2. Great venue. If you've never been to see bands down there, just the right size as far as I'm concerned. In Bilston, and of course, you can go and have a beer and all the rest of it there as well before the show. You can see that tonight, says Mike, at the Robin 2. Mike, hope you're well, mate, and we'll have to get together soon, sometime in the near future.
BBC WM
95.6.
That'd be good. I like that one. If I wasn't otherwise preoccupied, then I might give that one a go. I like a bit of AC/DC. Not sure I like a bit of reindeer though. That's what's on the menu according to Lidl. They're going to launch a range of reindeer, and we heard just a few moments ago from Jill, who looks after reindeer. Now, it's interesting because Jill said, "Oh no, I wouldn't kill for meat my own reindeer," but has smuggled some reindeer in to eat behind her reindeer's backs, which I think is even worse. Now, she hadn't tried it yet. Let's talk to one man who has, though. Mark Lloyd is a chef and also a wild food expert for BBC Food. He's with us on the show. Morning, Mark.
Morning, how are you?
I'm all right, thank you. You rotter. Fancy eating Rudolph.
I know, what a great bit of timing for Lidl to bring it out. Right as all the Christmas cards hit the shelves in all the shops.
You're a rotten stinker. What do you think of this? Is it let me talk about as a chef first of all. What kind of meat is it to work with? What do you think of it?
It's a fantastic meat. If you think about venison and all wild meats as being quite lean, good for you, they're eating great things, they're out there, they're exercising, they're not being kept indoors or being intensively farmed. It's a fantastic meat, and we should be making more of the wild meat that's available to us.
And obviously we've been through the different kind of meats that are available, the ones that we don't normally eat, and some are just way too emotive for us, but are still served like horse. Don't you think that this is a possibility that this could very quickly fall into that category?
No, it's not. It's more like a venison than horse. It's more like
I mean about the psychology of it, though, Mark. Is thinking, oh man, I'm eating Rudolph.
Yeah, I think a little bit is that, isn't it? If we think it's pretty or we think it should be a pet, then we don't really want to eat it. But, this meat's been around for thousands and thousands of years, and we would have eaten it just as part of nature. We've just kind of grown out of the habit of doing it, a bit like picking wild food, I suppose. But I think that it's a difficult one. Once you get past the emotive thing of eating beef or eating pork because of Babe, and you realise how good bacon tastes, then you should be all right with it, really. If you're going to eat an animal, you're going to eat an animal. It doesn't really matter where it comes from, so long as it's been well reared and well looked after, in my opinion. Do you think when you talk to people, as I know you do, as a chef, people go, oh, come on, Mark, give us a few tips or give us a bit of a help, or you might do a masterclass or something like that. Do you think that people will panic if it's something that they're unfamiliar with, when, as you say, if you think, oh, well, OK, if you just treat it like this meat that you know already, no need to panic. Do they panic when they're cooking it, do you think? Some do. I mean, I've walked into cooking demonstrations with basically most of the countryside hanging there in feather and fur and all that kind of stuff, and had vegetarians in the room. But by the end of it, the vegetarians are getting involved in the butchery, and they understand that, unfortunately, if we're going to eat meat, something has to die, but we've got to make the best that we can from it. And it is purely emotive, and it's purely a squeamish thing with some people as well, that it's got feathers on it and it's got all its inside bits still left in, and they just can't get their heads around that. They're all right with it when it's portioned down in a plastic packet and they don't have to sort of think about where it came from. But I think the more education that we do and the more masterclasses that we do, people will get involved and they'll start to understand their food a little bit better.
It's amazing we've got any ugly animals left, isn't it, really, as you say, because, if you think about it, evolution should be that all the ugly ones don't survive because we nosh our way through them because we have no conscience about that. I do think if you said rabbit stew was fluffy bunny stew, then people would probably treat it differently as well. And there is that emotion versus liking the taste and wanting to eat it as well. It's always going to be a struggle for us, isn't it, this?
It is a little bit, but I think if you did a blind tasting with a piece of beef, a piece of venison, a piece of I think that most people wouldn't be able to pick that pick the three apart. I think the other thing is that people worry about game in general, in that it's going to taste a bit rough and it's going to taste a bit kind of overhung and almost too strong for them. But I'm sure that, you know, Lidl will have done the homework and they'll have hung the meat for the correct amount of time, and it'll have exactly the same texture and taste as a steak would, you know. And there are all of those same cuts, so there will be braising cuts, there will be steaks. You can treat it in exactly the same way as beef.
Before we get to wild food, don't because I know that's your passion. But just for the average person, they're there and they're plonked down on the kitchen counter. Okay, you got a couple of reindeer steaks there. Yep. What would you do? Would you treat them in the same way and say go traditional with accompaniments with them, or would you do something a little bit off the wall? What are your thoughts for recipes, Mark?
Well, I mean, it's a very Scandinavian. It's eaten quite widely in Scandinavia, and they tend to go more across towards mushrooms and berries because of the time of year that they would have reindeer meat available to them. So I've had it with lingonberry sauce, which you can get from that famous Swedish furniture shop now in the supermarket bit.
Oh, right. What's it called? A what berry?
Lingonberry.
Okay, I have no idea. I'm going to look it up while you're talking.
It comes in like a little pot, like a jam, and you can add that into a gravy or a stock and just sweeten that sauce up a little bit, or you can go the other way with mushrooms, or you could even pepper it and cook it that way. So it will take a lot of the flavours that a beef steak would. I'm not really sure I'd go down a blue cheese line with it or that kind of way, because it'll be a bit too kind of fatty and overpowering for it. But it's a great flavoured meat, and it's very, very lean. If you take things like the haunches and the shoulders, they'll pot roast beautifully. And also on a day like today, which I've just stuck my head out the door and it's raining and freezing and we're heading into winter properly now, that kind of hot pot with the root vegetables and that rich gravy topped with potatoes, it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. Just use it the same way.
Slow cook it seems like it's a prime candidate for a slow cook, is it then, that kind of thing?
Well, like any four-legged animal, the ends that do all the work are a little bit tougher, so you've got to slow cook those, and all the bits that kind of hang in the middle are all the more tender bits, which you cook a bit more gently, and the flash fry and cook like you would a normal steak.
Do you think it's going to catch on? I mean, do you think, as you say, I mean, it's one from one of our budget supermarkets. It's this time of year when they think, oh, okay, well, maybe this is going to capture our imagination. So, you know, in this way, they get a bit of free publicity about it because it's in people's consciousness. But do you think longer term, I'm not sure how it stacks up price-wise. Maybe we'll talk about that in a second. But do you think this will catch on as a meat?
I hope it does. I hope that we're brave enough to go out and give it a go and see that, you know, it's a great tasting meat. Hopefully it's being sustainably reared by the people who are providing it to the supermarkets, and that it's being well taken care of. And I think that if people go out and try it, they'll be pleasantly surprised. It's a fantastic meat, and we should be making more of our wild meat that's available to us.
What about cost? Is it because venison is? I always kind of think, oh, you're doing well if you're on the old venison.
See, and strangely, I mean, venison, you should be able to get it cheaper than beef. You should be able to go out and get it cheaper than beef, but it's about buying it from the right place, you know, buying it from good game dealers, buying it from your local butcher. When it starts appearing in supermarkets, that means that people are starting to buy it. And I walk around supermarkets now, and it is starting to appear on shelves. With reindeer, because obviously I doubt it's going to be British. I think it's probably going to be imported. It should be really competitively priced. And I would think Lidl would probably be clever enough that they would run it at a price to make it sell, to get people to try it.
And as a tester, Mark, I mean, if you kind of run this as a test now and kind of think, okay, see how it catches on and if it becomes popular, there's no reason, as far as I'm aware, I don't know if you know any, why we couldn't actually source it in the UK then, and you start seeing reindeer farms for meat. I mean, they could thrive here quite easily, couldn't they? There's no reason.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've got the same sort of climate and temperature and things like that they would anywhere else. And we do have reindeer in this country already. The lady that was on earlier on that obviously keeps reindeer but hasn't decided to use them for the dinner plate yet. I'm sure she will if it starts taking off with Lidl. And other people will eventually move on to that. We've started seeing more and more venison farms coming up and wild boar returning back into the country and being farmed. Yeah. We're going to be looking at those alternative meats. I think the British public now are a little bit bored with chicken, beef, pork. We're a bit more outgoing than that now, and we're willing to try more things. So I hope they'll have a go at reindeer as well.
We hadn't had a leg of lamb for ages, and I foolishly went to look at the price of a leg of lamb. I think is absolutely scandalous at the moment. So some of the other meats are pricing people out of the market as well. Final point then, butchery. I don't want to get too graphic or gruesome because I won't sleep tonight. But will butchers? I mean, I don't know quite. In the world of butchery, whether if you present a butcher with a carcass of more or less any animal, as you say, if it's four-legged, it's going to more or less be the same. Are they going to know what is your local butcher going to be up to speed with this as well, do you think? As well,
a good traditional butcher will know how to do this. He will break it down in exactly the same way as he'd break down a cow, or he'd break down a venison, or he would break down a lamb. Pretty much all of the cuts are the same, and it'll be... it'll be a good test for the younger butchers, the apprentices that are coming through, to see an animal that, isn't run-of-the-mill that they've seen on a farm growing up. It'll be something a little bit different for them.
Fascinating. Mark, thanks as always for joining us. Mark Lloyd, who's chef, wild food expert for BBC Food, joining us on the show. I know somebody who had reindeer, but they had it with all the trimmings from their Christmas tree and ended up having terrible tinselitis.
Have your say. Across the West Midlands, call
03453
00 9956.
BBC WM
95.6.
What? Oh, come on, I've been here for 2.5 hours talking. It's enough to drive you crazy. Thanks for your tweets this morning, by the way. Don't forget, big afternoon of sport, because I noticed John Platt, the ghost of John Platt, wandering around the building. Getting ready to do all the technical stuff for that. 2 commentaries today. We've got the first one, more or less straight at the traps, 12:15 today. Is Wolves away to Derby County, and then Villa away to West Ham. We've got both of those commentaries coming up on BBC WM 95.6. That's straight after me in about half an hour's time. The show's on air. 12:15 is our first kick-off. That's Wolves, Derby. 12:15. Thank you for your emails this morning on the Walsall Hippo. Jean, morning Jean, says, Shane, I think the Hippo is in Walsall because that's the place where the Fatties boot camp is held. So what, they all look like a bunch of hippos, is that what you're saying? Jean, how very dare you. Thank you for that on the email. Forgot to mention, I mentioned it earlier on, Shane on Air is how that's generally how you can find me on most things. Shane on Air, ShaneOnair, Shane on Air at bbc.co.uk if you want to drop me an email. And I'm going to say hi to Hilda, who talked to Bernie on the phones, and lovely things she was saying. And she remembers me when I used to work with Franksy. Hilda, I suspect you go back further than I do. That's ridiculous that you can remember all of that so long ago. So thank you very much for giving us a call. Didn't want to come on air, but just wanted to say some lovely things. That's really nice. 03453 00 9956. I can listen to people saying lovely things all day. 11:30. It's Shane O'Connor sitting in for Iain Lee today between now and, for the next half an hour, really, through until 12 o'clock. Let's talk to John in Streatley. We've been talking about super councils on the show this morning. John's got some thoughts. Hello, John.
Good morning, Shane.
What you got from me, mate?
You're going on about they want to set up a new quadrangle. Years ago, they had devolution, and they said it was going to cost nothing. And in the first year, they spent millions on it. But the thing is, I think we've got 300 and some odd councillors running Birmingham now, and they can't run that.
Do you not see any sense of benefit at all on this? Do you then, John? There's not because the one that they're talking about is they're saying, well, what we could do actually is we could get the transport infrastructure a little bit, and I'm thinking, well, what is Centro doing?
Yeah, but it's laughable. It's a point. What is Central doing? We don't need Centro.
Or you don't need a super council, one or the other. You need one or the other. So you could use that money elsewhere, couldn't you, a little bit better?
All these Albert Bohr wants to do is line his own pocket.
No. I can't say that because there's no evidence at all that is the case. And there is no suggestion that is what Councillor Bohr wants to do, Albert Bohr wants to do. And we can't say that on air. So I completely retract that. That is not a thing that we can say on the radio because there is no evidence and you can't say things that aren't true. John, thanks for joining us on the show this morning.
The voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
BBC WM
95.6.
And plus the fact you can't have a go at people who are not here to defend themselves as well, which is not on at all. Ray is in Solihull Lodge and joins us on the show. Morning, Ray.
Oh, hello there.
What you got for me, Ray?
I think I want to reiterate to start with that we've been all through this before, really, haven't we? When we had those great metropolitan councils.
Yes, you're not the first, and I'm sure you won't be the last of all. See, what they forget is that we've lived life a bit, Ray, that we're not all 12 years old and have got a memory that lasts about 6 years. We remember these things, don't we?
Well, there's a lot of aspects to it, you see. The one in the Midlands was run by Sir Stanley Yap.
Oh,
he was the most powerful man, and the one here and the one in London was Ken Livingstone.
That's right.
And Thatcher sort of got rid of them, mainly because they were Labour-controlled, and secondly because of the bureaucracy.
Yeah.
But the point I want to make is this. You see, what we're more interested in is to improve the democracy that we live in. You see, I have to. The devolution is supposed to give people more of a say just about where they live, but it doesn't seem to happen.
Well, that lasted 20 minutes talking about where you live before we will start talking about how we amalgamate everything together and make it a bigger thing. This is completely against devolution, isn't it, Ray? Don't you think? This is the opposite of devolution.
Absolutely. You see, there's one or two. First of all, we're not all members of the Chamber of Commerce.
No.
We're not got business interests. There are other things in life besides that. That explains the rise of the Greens.
Yeah.
You see, may I give you a couple of examples?
Yeah.
You see, not long ago, a developer wanted to build a housing estate next door to Anne Hathaway's cottage in Stratford, a tourist attraction. The people of Stratford opposed it, but it was overruled by Whitehall.
Well, it still hasn't been thrown out, though. Is it 800 houses at the back of Anne Hathaway's cottage still hasn't been overruled? And what
what I'm trying to say is they can overrule it, and you see you've got this other business in Solihull.
Can they? I don't know whether people can actually. I don't know whether we've got less democracy now than we ever had. I know from where I am there was a huge housing development they wanted to build, and they had the Borough Council had the most objections to any housing development ever in the history of housing developments in their history, and they still went ahead. They're still going ahead with it.
This is the point I'm making. It can be overruled from Westminster.
Right.
The people locally just are overruled.
Don't get a say. Yeah.
And you see, it seems to me now that unless you're in business or you're a member of the Chamber of Commerce, they don't want to know you.
Well, what about if they were here now, somebody like that, or somebody representing business or whatever, they would say, because I've heard them say it, they'd say, Ray, you know your trouble is you're a NIMBY, and you're anti-business, and you don't. It's all right for you. You've had a career, but you don't want people to have new jobs. Well, all these new jobs it's bringing. What would you say to them, Ray, when they level that accusation at you?
All I can say is that change is okay. We must have change.
Yeah.
It depends. You see, the trouble with these people, they want to change everybody but themselves. They want to private everything except things like the monarchy.
Yeah.
If they were to put that out for tender to a family that could do it cheaper, perhaps they might think they're sincere. But they only want to modernise other people. And you see, and I resent the things that are said about me like that, because what I want to see is that more quality of life for the people in the environment where they live.
Do you know, you've hit on the... do you know, I love your idea, actually. I'm going to float that idea now. We should subcontract the royal family. We should see if we can find a family that could do it cheaper. But
look, it's a symptom that these people are hypocrites. They want to modernise everybody but themselves.
Yeah.
The House of Lords is still as entrenched as ever, isn't it?
Yeah. The thing that struck me, what you were saying there as well, you're saying it's about quality. Not about quantity.
The Greens have risen is because people... I mean, there was a guy named Karl Marx, I don't know if you ever heard of him.
I do.
But he said that man does not live by bread alone. There are other things in life besides big developments, profits and business interests. Other qualities of life besides that.
Let me ask you, because you remember it, you probably remember it more vividly, you were paying more attention than I was. When Thatcher got rid of the GLC and those other levels of politics that were over the top, do you think, was that a good thing, do you think, or was that a good move or a bad move?
Well, I think that whether a thing is bad or big or not depends on its structure. It depends on whether it is designed to give a better quality of life and more democracy to the people that live in it. And unfortunately, everything now is designed to suit the interests of large business interests. You see, the EEC wasn't created for the benefit of the people of Europe. It was created for the benefit of the large multinationals to move their assets about. That was what it was for.
And also the politicians, who, of course, who do quite well out of it as well. That's
the lucrative jobs. I mean, you see, this man, Cameron's making a fool of himself. I tell him day after day they're not going to change anything, but he still clings to this fantasy. I mean, if he goes on the way he's going, he'll become a laughing stock, won't he? Because he hasn't recognised he's dealing with a massive entity that has got the interests of themselves at heart.
Ray, what a great call. Thanks for joining us on the show today. It's Ray, Solihull Lodge. He's in 03453 009956. Do you agree with him? Do you not agree with him? Is he right about what he's saying? And when the GLC went, you remember Thatcher got rid of the GLC and got rid of some of those other councils that were around the country that she thought were hampering development and things moving on. What did you think of that? Was that a good idea or not? 81333 on the text. Start your message WM. Let's talk to Darren in Northfield. Hi, Darren.
Mr. O'Connor, how are you, sir?
I'm all right, Mr. Darren. I'm okay.
Nice to hear you back on the radio.
Thank you. I've never really gone away. I just changed the location and I just slip off somewhere else, that's all.
But I remember you at breakfast with Frank's as well.
Another one. Good grief. I can't believe so many people have got such long memories.
Well, one thing I'll always remember is you had caused me to have a car accident.
Did I? Did I? I didn't really, did I?
Yes, sir. I think it was children in need as well, when you was having your legs whacked.
Do you know what? It's only last week it's grown back. How weird is that? That's really...
I was laughing that much, I never saw a car stop in front of me.
Yeah, I wasn't laughing that much. I'll tell you what, I'm sorry about that. I apologise. Super councils. What do you think? Darren, is this a step forward or a big step back? What are we talking about here?
I think we're going back to the way it was before, because it used to be West Midlands County Council at one point.
Yeah, that's a lot of people have said that, and that was around at the time. I think that was one that was a casualty when the GLC went, wasn't it? Greater London Council.
Yeah, I'd say then everybody broke up into the little ones, and they seem to be merging back into that again.
Do you think that is more or less democratic, though? Because, we were just listening to the callers on before you were saying... We were talking about devolution and boiling it down to as local as you can be. This is almost the opposite. This is going in the wrong direction, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. Some people are saying it's going to be good for things, and some people are going to go saying it's going to be bad. Just why break something? Why try and fix something that's not broken?
Right. So
everybody does help each other out anyway.
Yeah. I mean, at the moment, this is just they're just floating this just to see whether people will think it's a good idea or what kind of reaction there'll be as what. But on what you're seeing at the moment, you're not keen, no?
No, because you look at it another way. You imagine it's two companies, they merge. What's one of the first things they do? They lay people off.
Interesting. Darren, good call. Thanks for that, Darren in Northfield. Let's talk to James in Birmingham. Hiya, James. Hello, James. Hang on. Is he there? Let me see. James, can you hear me? Oh, hang on a sec. James, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry, mate. I got you now.
It's all right. Yeah, I think it'd be a good thing, to be honest with you. I mean, I've been listening. I don't remember I'm old enough to remember when it was the way before, like what some of them have mentioned.
Yeah.
But for me, I mean, I think it's a good decision because it will take less time for, like, large projects to be, to start. Because at the moment, like, when you've got different councils and different bodies involved, it takes that long for them to make a decision. By the time to make a decision, it's like 10 years have passed, But also, I think it's worked for London and Manchester. It hasn't caused no problems there. And it will be less easier for the government to ignore us. If we're that big, they won't be able to ignore us as much, and they'll have to take more notice. So I can't see why it would be a bad thing.
Do you think... then the councils now, is it Birmingham City Council that you live under? I guess it is, isn't it? Yeah. Do you think Birmingham City Council, do you think you have a voice on at Birmingham City Council? Do you think if you had a problem, they'd listen to you and you'd be heard?
Yeah, I do. I do believe that. I have actually had instances, and yes, they have listened. To be honest with you.
Right. So making it bigger or making it part of something that was bigger, you don't feel that your voice would become quieter. You think you'd still be heard and you'd be happy with that?
Yeah, I can't see why we wouldn't still be heard. I mean, they'd still be doing everything what they're doing now. to me, it would just be a bigger organisation. You know, that it would be so hard for the government not to listen to us. At the moment, you've got the smaller councils, Sandwell, Birmingham, Wolverhampton, Walsall, all of these going with their own agendas to the government. It's so much easier to ignore them because they're small. But once you're a big organisation, then it's so much harder for them not to listen.
What about this idea that, it'd be so much easier for businesses? I don't think it's that hard for business. And if people are running a business, by the way, and they want to let us know what they think this morning, I'd be interested in that one. But they're saying about people running businesses would find it easier because, they wouldn't have to worry about cross borders and cross boundaries and all this. And I think, well, they don't anyway. Jaguar Land Rover, who are registered in Warwickshire, that's where their head office is. They've got plants all over the West Midlands, and the latest one they actually opened in Wolverhampton. So they don't seem to be worried about borders, do they? Does that work for you as well? Do you think, companies are being hamstrung because they have to worry about borders?
I think they are. I mean, I'll tell you an instance. It's only a small instance. There's a border between Bearwood and Birmingham. Now, there's a subway there, and half's in Birmingham, half's in Sandwell. They was arguing for years about who was going to pay for it, who was going to do this and that. Now, if you're all under the one roof, then those kind of problems will go away. And also, if you're a business and you're having to deal with two councils, then it's easier to have to deal with one organisation.
Sure,
so having to apply to one and then apply to another. The one objects, the other one doesn't object. It makes it so much harder. I can't see it being any bad for anyone in the West Midlands apart from just raise our profile and hopefully bring more jobs into the whole area.
Do you worry that the argument won't go away, that, as you say, but will actually just be moved to another border? So instead of arguing with people between Birmingham and Bearwood, they're actually arguing with people between West Midlands and Staffordshire. You're just moving the argument, aren't you?
Yeah, but we can't fight. Say if it becomes West Midlands County or whatever.
Yeah.
We can't, there are always going to be arguments between boundaries, but we can only look after our own interests.
Mm.
I know what you're saying. You're not like, but you could have an argument with the next county.
You're not curing the mentality, are you? If you're still going to argue over petty things, you're going to argue over here as much as you're going to argue over there. I don't know. Here's a final point for you. I always think, and I don't know if you've noticed this, that Manchester really winds Birmingham up, and they'll go in the paper and they'll go, "We're going to be the second city because Birmingham's a bit rubbish really, and it's not big enough," and they fall for it every time. I just think, let them get on with it. Do you worry that this is the politics of envy rather than this is, we're looking at, instead of looking what's on our own plate, we're looking at what's on Manchester's plate. Do you agree with that as a concept or not?
You're always going to get that, but to be honest with you, I think Manchester got all rights to do what they're doing because they, like I said to you, they've pulled in all the other little towns around it and made it one big place. It's worked well for them. So, in all honesty, they've got all rights to say what they're saying because even our infrastructure isn't as good as theirs. We need to make ourselves bigger and be heard more and to work together instead of in-house fighting between different councils. It's worked for Manchester, like I said. It's worked for London with putting all the inner cities and all the other areas surrounding it. Why shouldn't it work for us? People are too concerned about losing their little identity. I'm from Birmingham, I'm from Black Country, I'm from Wolverhampton. People are scared to lose those little identities and not looking at the bigger picture that could benefit us all.
James, what a brilliant call. Thanks ever so much for being part of the show today. Really appreciate it. 03453 009956 81333 on the text. Start your message WM. That was James in Birmingham. Brilliant call. Love that. 14 minutes to midday. Let's catch up with the latest travel. Matthew's got the details. How are we looking, Matt?
Not too bad generally, although the weather situation appalling across the West Midlands. Please take care if you're out and about. Motorway's not too bad. The M42 had a minor accident, one towards Redditch at Junction 2. Just had news in that's been cleared out of the way. Still this collision in Cannock. The Avon Road is blocked by an accident at Mill Street, the A34. I think it's in its final stages, but still closed for the time being. To the south side of Birmingham, now it's been a bit of a contrary situation through Withell. The Ulster Road, the 435, was closed briefly earlier on with a collision. It looks like it was cleared for a while, but again there's a lane closure because a horse is at the scene. Still quite busy leading northbound, and indeed drivers asked to take care and indeed slow as you approach Dumble Pit Lane. Through Sutton Coldfield, big delays around the Brassington Avenue. This is part, of course, of the one-way system. Looks like it's closed with an accident, so traffic trying to get in towards Sutton and then around the Ring Road is to head off towards Queen Street. The closure itself is at Park Road. And of course still the road works to watch out for traffic heading around town because of the closure of Aston Bridge just off from Dartmouth Circus in Aston. The road remains closed for the time being. If you can update us, call BBC WM 95.6 Travel 08453 0022 88.
Pete Morgan at breakfast.
Claire Peters from Walsall Wood. She's being treated for ovarian cancer.
Good evening, everybody. I've got to have a lot of chemo.
Right.
Right through till January.
Claire, I've got somebody on the line.
Morning. Hi, Claire. Oh, God, it's me mate, Julie. I'm sorry it's not the older. Can I just thank you so much from the bottom of my heart?
Claire, it's almost like people love you.
Oh, and I love everyone as well. Because I love to put smiles on people's faces, and that's what I live for.
Pete Morgan at breakfast.
Monday to Friday, 6 till 9.
BBC WM 95.6.
There's a bit of a row going on with the sports boys behind them, not between them. Mike Taylor and Daz Hale are providing all your sport today, and there's some fella going away on the PA behind them. Hello.
Good afternoon. I'm pleased to announce the PA system at Derby County is working.
Yeah, boy,
That's pretty much what he's been saying since about the last 25 minutes.
Can we cut that, or can we get a mic? Oh, he stopped now, hasn't he, fellas?
He took the hint. He just said, O'Connor says shut him. There we go. Job done.
Listen, you are at so what is it? It's the iPro Stadium, is it now? What is it?
iPro this week. It's Pride Park to me.
That's what I remember it as well. They still call it that, I guess. Wolves are there. Tasty little fixture. We've got the commentary this afternoon, fellas, haven't we?
Yes, I agree with you. I think it's a good game. Wolves have had a little bit of a tricky week with a draw against Birmingham, and then they lost 2-1 at Ipswich, but they were quite well beaten in that game on Tuesday night down in Suffolk. They are missing one or two players through injury. Dave Edwards, who was injured at Ipswich, is going to be out for at least the next few weeks, and I think they will miss him. However, there's slightly brighter news on the striker Nua Dicko, who they also very much have missed in the last two games, and we were told quite clearly wouldn't be fit until at least another fortnight after the international break. However, he is on the substitutes bench today, we have just been informed, so presumably things can't be too bad. Sam Ricketts, the club captain, comes back in at left back for Tommy Rowe, and George Saville is in for the injured Dave Edwards. Those are the changes for Wolves. I think this is a hard game, but like every game in the Championship, it's one that you come to with a chance because the teams are pretty close together.
Yeah, that's right. You know, so a win for Wolves would put them level on points with the teams at the top. A win for Derby would actually put them top. So both teams going really well. So we've got this game first, Shane. Then at 3 o'clock, massive one for Aston Villa. I think everybody knows the stats that they've lost 6 on the spin. They go to West Ham today. So Francie Enrico will bring us that game live on 95.6. Richard Wilford will be at St Andrews for Blues against Cardiff. They actually won at home in midweek, and they could do with winning again today because they dropped another place in the table, the second from bottom last night. So that game live on DAB. We've got Walsall against Shrewsbury in the FA Cup as well. Tomorrow we've got Albion against Newcastle. That's also live. So some huge games this weekend. What do you think of this music, Shane?
I'm seeing you dancing to it, Daz, actually.
Mate, O'Connor wants a bit of Jive Bunny or Jedward. Get it sorted. See what we can do for you.
Are you near a speaker, or is that the ambient sound in the ground? That's horrific.
This is what it's like. A lot of football grounds these days, I assume they think they need to build up the atmosphere.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, but usually because there's so much in the way of other facilities, the actual seats at ground fill up a lot later than they used to. People only tend to come out for the kick-off, particularly on such an absolutely foul day as this.
Yeah.
So I think this is the attempt to try and get people going. But actually, most football crowds are perfectly capable of doing that themselves if you leave them to it.
Yeah. Maybe the two of you could do a Mexican wave or something, and
we're the lucky ones. At least we've got headphones on.
Yeah.
We're listening to this.
I'll let you go before you get a migraine. Fellas, thanks for that. It's Mike Taylor and Daz Hale. Oh, hang on. Let me just take a moment to savour the silence. I just we do a thing what we call pre-fade, where we just like listen before you hear it out on air. Just listening to that. I was saying to Simon, my producer, is that the football? Is that Daz and is that Mike there? Because all I could hear this guy talking about gyms and all sorts of stuff. Anyway, they've got the music in the background. That'll all be gone by the time kick-off comes around at 12:15. We hand over to the sports team at 12. And as Daz and Mike were trying to tell you, hopefully you could hear that, we've got full commentary with the boys from 12:15. Wolves away to Derby. And then Frank Cianrigo down at West Ham. It's Villa West Ham is our second featured commentary game this afternoon. So that's how we're looking sport-wise straight after us at 12 today.
Have your say.
Across the West Midlands, call
03453 00
9956.
BBC WM
95.6.
That's the... I haven't finished my coffee yet. Don't take me more. Go on, Iain. I'll let it get cold. Look, you might as well... Hang on a second. I'm a bit live on air. Hang on. And that's why I never get invited out to dinner. Do you washing up, Bernie? Are you now? She's very good. On the email this morning, Iain nearly went down the wrong way. That did. Iain in Wolverhampton said, "I'm already calling to propose a cheaper price for doing the monarchy job." He said. He said, I don't know if he works like that, but wouldn't that be cool if you could subcontract it out? Iain said, I would expect Ricky to redress the imbalance with London so there's no need for super councils. Thank you for that one, Iain, on the email this morning. Chris in Haleshowen said, Shane, I had a reindeer steak in Sweden. It was during the depths of winter. It was delicious, but then having said that, in the depths of winter in Sweden, anything would have tasted delicious, just that wasn't cold, says Chris in Haleshowen. Thank you very much for your emails this morning. Really enjoyed getting your contributions to the show. Before we finish, we are going to get some more of your calls. And you said, I'm trying to get some of your texts, and I'm just a bit mindful. We haven't read all of them out. I have to say, we do read them, though. I do read them, so it hasn't been a waste if we don't read them out on air. Just want to tell you about something before we head up towards the end of the show. 6 minutes to midday. And if you've seen it, the government has announced that from next year, about 4,000 war widows are going to be able to remarry without losing their former partner's pensions. The changes relate to those who lost their spouses between 1973 and 2005. A period that rules dictated that benefits ended at the point that widows remarried. The pensions will only be paid to people who remarry after April next year and won't be awarded retrospectively as well. So not really a huge victory, is it, if you're one of those campaigning to get this changed? The Minister for Veterans, Anna Soubry, says it's right to change the rules and act in line with the Armed Forces Covenant, which refers to the obligation to support the armed forces and their families.
It was never about the money. It was about doing the right thing. And the way that we can achieve the right thing is by looking at the covenant, which says you shouldn't suffer a disadvantage because of your usually husband, because we're talking about largely about a group of women. So they shouldn't suffer a disadvantage. That's what the covenant says. This is how we do it, by applying the covenant. So we're delivering at last on the covenant. And that's what we've got to do, because it's not just words.
Unfortunately, and she's not joining us on the show to answer this, but unfortunately she's failed to answer the question single-handedly. If the covenant is placed and needs to be honoured, then why are they not doing it retrospectively? Doesn't seem right to me. The decision, though, has been welcomed by Major General John Moore-Bick, who's the General Secretary of the Forces Pension Society. He's playing down any question over the timing of the announcement on the weekend of the final Remembrance Sunday before the general election.
We can all be cynical, but when it's something good, I don't think today is a day for cynicism. I think that today is the day for a very gracious acceptance of a decision having been made. Quite a bold decision, because there are all sorts of knock-ons, but I think the Prime Minister's done the right thing.
That's political speak. If they say you're being cynical, that's you've asked the right question and they haven't got an answer for it. Still doesn't answer the question, what happens to all the ones who've gone before, who, through the covenant, thought that they were going to be looked after by the British government and the British people. Members of the War Widows Association have been due to hand in a petition to Downing Street this morning protesting against what they say is an injustice, and they now say they're sending a letter of thanks to the Prime Minister instead. David Cameron says it's wrong that so many people had to make a choice between financial security and loneliness. Great rhetoric, but what, and I keep saying this, what about the people who've gone before who will continue to and have lost out? It doesn't seem to make any sense. I talked to a widow of a police officer, West Midlands police officer, a couple of weeks ago on a radio programme, and she was saying it happens exactly the same with police widows as well. So they're still left out in the cold, and presumably nothing's going to change for them anytime soon.
Darlaston,
Edgbaston,
Erdington,
Paisley, Cornwall Wood. Have your say across the West Midlands.
BBC WM 95.6.
Let's get a final word on the show. Then we've been talking landmarks. Maureen's in Walsall. Hello, Maureen.
Hello.
What have you got for me then? Landmarks. Have you thought of some great ones? Have you got any suggestions? What do you reckon?
On the Black Country route near Willenhall and Darliston,
Yeah.
the A463, there's a tall thing called the House of Birds.
Go
It's
on.
like a birdhouse, a great big metal birdhouse.
This is on the roundabout.
Yes.
I'd forgotten all about that. The Black Country route has it's got statues on every roundabout, hasn't it?
It has, yeah. Opposite that, there's a horse. I'm not quite sure why that's there.
No, I hate it when you don't know why. Don't you? It drives me nuts. I've 3 hours we've been on air and I still don't know why they've got a hippo in Walsall.
But it's nice to see them because I'm a bit of an artist and I just love to see things like that in the community.
Do you think we take it seriously enough?
No, we don't. We don't appreciate it.
Do you know what? The first thing we do is moan about the cost, isn't it? Have you noticed that?
Exactly, yeah.
What about the cost of all this? And you kind of think, well, which is right if we're using public money, but why do we have to use public money? We've got businesses making money hand over fist out of people of the West Midlands, and you kind of think, get them to put their hands in the pockets and pay people like you, an artist, to do whatever, and then everybody's happy. You get a living, we get some nice landmarks, and the companies get to put something back, but we do it all wrong, don't we? I don't know. We don't seem to.
We do. It's a bit of a partnership. I'm not a working artist. I just appreciate art.
Yeah.
And it's a partnership, and I just think they're lovely wherever they are.
I think you're right. Your homework, should you choose to accept it, is find out why on earth there's a hippo in Walsall, because I still haven't got to the bottom of that one.
I will look that up for you.
Maureen, good luck with that, because I can't find anything. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Good to talk to you. Maureen in Walsall is our final call today. Thank you so much for your contributions. It's been Shane O'Connor sitting in for Iain Lee. Last one today. I think Ian's back with you next Saturday, so have a great time. And I'll see you again soon here on BBC WM 95.6. I hope it's sooner rather than later. Thanks for being part of the show. Let's get the latest... Oh, no, we don't do travel, do we? Sorry, no travel. Forget we don't do travel. That's it then for me. And as I say, I'll be back with you very soon. Stand by and stay tuned for a great afternoon of sport. 2 live commentary games. You can't say fairer than that, can you, really? We've got Wolves away to Derby. That's coming up in about 15 minutes' time, that kick-off. The sports team taking over straight after the news. And then it's Villa away at West Ham. And as Daz Hale said, we all know the trials and tribulations with that one. Stick around for full commentary on both of those games. We're soon handing you over to Mike Taylor and Daz Hale. Have a great Saturday.
Up the West Midlands with the latest news, sport, weather and travel updates. P. Morgan at breakfast, back Monday morning from 6.
The 2014 BBC Local Radio Station of the Year. BBC WM 95.6.
Oh, thanks to Bernie and Simon for looking after me on the show. Let's get the latest news exactly midday. Here's Nicole Pullman.
An extra 1,500 American military personnel are being sent to Iraq. They'll have a non-combat role, providing training and assistance to Iraqi and Kurdish forces fighting ISIS.